in a world of remakes and remasters.
Are we playing for
What was once sacred and cool has now soured and become lame. Gone are the days of pods and cowabunga. Now is the reign of slurp juice and dabs. Kids these days don't even know how bad they've got it. Now it's up to the best generation to rise to the occasion and make a show that dares to go where a lot of other nerdy shows have already gone quite a bit. That's right. They're going to talk about it a lot.
Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is Best Generation, the show where we complain about nerdy stuff. And we are, of course, from the Best Generation. We are, however, very welcoming to humans or Russian bots of any generation, as long as you acknowledge that Slurpees are radical. So, yeah, we've been having a couple Russian bots in the chat recently. So I think I changed the settings so you have to be a subscriber to comment. But please feel free to subscribe and give us your thoughts. As I'm not monetized yet, I can't even enable super chats. So you get a comment for free, and we'll try and read all of those as we go. We're talking today's episode. We are talking about the Book of Boba Fett, episode 6, and the second set of episodes of the Legend of Vox Machina, 4 through 6. I'm joined by my brother David and my friend Tanner, who are both nerds from the Best Generation. How's that for an intro? That was pretty good, right?
My gut reaction was to be like nerd, but I forget all the nerd stuff is mainstream and popular now.
Nerd.
And how great is that?
It's got its ups and downs. I like that, like, bullying in general isn't as big of a thing anymore. I definitely appreciate some of the stuff going mainstream. I do, however, think that has caused a lot of the problems we complain about on this show. Because it's become mainstream, you have people who are from the mainstream making nerdy stuff now, and they're not invested in it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can see that.
But it's, it has its pluses.
Dune's really good.
Dune, oh yeah.
Dune was good.
Like and it never would have happened had you can't deny that there are positive aspects to the popularization of nerd culture. No one, I mean, who would? It's crazy that the David Lynch movie got financed. I mean, it was inevitable because of like the success of Star Wars and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure it came out after Star Wars, right?
I think you're right about that.
People are trying to make other, new Star Wars things. But man, was it a massive financial failure. I love the old Dune for what it is. It's got some really good visuals and great set and costume design. It's not a great movie. But yeah, I can't even imagine any studio willing to like, hey, let's make that mistake again. If not for the popularization of nerd culture. And Dune was incredible.
So the original Dune was 7 years after Star Wars.
Yeah, it was definitely, hey, Star Wars made money, and it was inspired by Dune, so let's make Dune. Didn't work out very well. Well, first off, they hired a guy who's just constantly on drugs.
Which, I mean,
is
thematically, though,
it's a visual snack. Okay, like if you just watching what's going on is fun.
I haven't seen the old Dune, but I mean, like, the fact, I mean, wouldn't you want someone on the spice telling the story about the spice?
Unfortunately, most of
Good
the
point.
drugs that we have on planet not Arrakis, or as some like to call it, Earth, most of those drugs don't let you see into the future and predict box office bombs. Unlike Spice, if it was on Spice, could have fixed some of those problems.
Yeah. Did you see that Corridor Digital video where they took the new Dune and
oh yes,
retrofitted it with the new?
They took the new Dune. They took the new Dune and put in the old shield effects.
Yeah,
it is incredible. It's wonderful.
I mean, as much as we complained about how janky and terrible it looked, it was a lot of work, and I think they did an awesome job recreating it.
So they didn't have computer graphics back then.
Yeah, it was all
so it was all in cam. So it was all either in camera effects or like painted on to the film itself, frame by frame. So yeah, those shields are it's just a 2D, some guy drawing, which is what one of the guys decided to try and mimic. Just drawing the shields and trying to approximate geometry and like warping of a 3D thing on like how it would reflect, how the light would refract, and it just meticulous. It sounds like hell.
Yeah, it sounds like hell with today's technology. I couldn't even imagine doing it back before we had all these fancy computers to make life easier.
Yeah, there was a lot of work put into that. The rest of the shots, like the crazy, like the ship with like a bunch of people that you see, that was done practically with a giant crane. So they built miniature airplanes or spaceships, and they built a giant platform.
Yeah, they're just
and put them on top of the platform, and then had a little cutout, filmed through it, and had people stand like like thousands of feet below the spaceships.
Yeah,
and get them captured in camera. It's nuts.
It's pretty crazy what they did. But
so I might have to watch it then.
You got to watch the old Dune.
I haven't seen it.
I love it. It's terrible in the way that the narrative is presented.
Yeah, the narrative is awful.
The biggest problem
and
the biggest problem is it when you make an adaptation, you have to consider the medium, right? In a book, you can do things that you can't do in a movie, like internal dialogue, right? You can say, hey, the character was thinking this and plotting this, and then this character was, oh, what does he mean by that? And try and figure it out in their brains, and that works really well in a book. But when you're adapting that to a movie, you usually have to come up with tricks, to get that dialogue out in the open, and that's why you get like the common trope of characters talking to the audience instead of themselves, like, as we both know, this is a thing. And you're like, well, then why would you say that? It's for the audience's benefit. So a lot of people have struggled to get that to work in adaptation, and the original Dune's answer to that question is to just not address it at all and have all of the characters do voiceovers for their internal monologue. More than half of the dialogue in the movie is internal dialogue. It's horrible. It's so bad.
Yep.
But it's fun. And you get The funny part is that the shields that you were mentioning in the opening scene, or they bring it up in the training, and then they never come up again because it took way too much work. They don't ever use them. There's like a 2-second shot later on in the film where the Jason Momoa's character in the new movie
one.
he turns it on for like a split second, then it cuts away because they're like, we can't afford to keep doing this. These shields. And so like it's brought up as a thing like, oh, this is going to come back later, and then it never does.
Yep.
But we weren't supposed to talk about Dune. No, we talk about whatever we want on the show. Psych! It's a bait and switch. Today's episode's all about Dune. All right, Tanner, you have the script. We're just reading it verbatim.
You know, funny you lit up. That doesn't sound too far off from the Boba Fett.
Put your hand in the box. What's in the box?
What's in the box? Pain. Pain is in the box. Paul Atreides, you were never supposed to be born. I don't know. I'm supposed to be a woman. You were never supposed to be born because we women have our magics. Oh shoot, what are they called?
The Bene Gesserits?
We're the Bene Gesserit witches, and you are a man, an abomination to our entire culture and existence. For years, we have selectively bred genetics only to have the most virile and attractive female bodies preserve the bloodline, and your mother was never supposed to. She was never supposed to birth a son, and in her hubris, she thinks that she can be the mother to the Kwisatz Haderach.
We cut to Elton John playing the piano, and he sings Benny Gesserits. Benny Gesserits. All right, let's
how do you say the Kwisatz Haderach? I just say the Quiznos haberdashery, but
I don't even know. I got the Dune graphic novel this week because I want to expose teenagers to good stories. I got it for my classroom, and I was skimming through it, and like I listened to the audiobook and seen the movie. So I don't know how things are spelled. So like Arrakis is like, it's got A's in it and E's and
there's some silent J's, you know. I think it's the Kwisatz Haderach or something like that. That's a hard term to refer to your main character as. So let's talk about Vox Machina, right?
Yeah.
Whichever one you wanted to start with was good.
Well, I think we're having Corwin join later, so he'll probably want to.
He's the Star Wars boy. Corwin will be joining us a little bit later.
He's a Star Wars boy. I'm a Star Wars boy as well.
David's been on more and has more Star Wars knowledge. I would call him the Star Wars boy.
Okay, David, you get to be the Star Wars boy. Corwin is the Star Wars man. So, if also just a quick announcement, if you're next week's stream will not be on Sunday, it will be on Saturday instead, as we go over the finale of the Book of Boba Fett. And I'm finally gonna probably maybe get my other Star Wars nerd to jump on. Star Wars boy. So look forward to that. Vox Machina episodes 4, 5, and 6. That means 6. What do you guys think?
Gotcha.
So 4. Can I just to clarify my mind? 4 was house arrest.
Yes.
5 was
travel
to
dogs
to Percy's hometown, and then 6 was the prison break.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, it was really good. Like I was telling you earlier, I got through watching all 3 episodes back to back and realized I didn't take any notes because I was just enjoying the story. It was really good. I really enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I had to force myself to take notes. I was like, because I was watching, and I mean, there's a stark difference in quality between this show and the Book of Boba Fett. When I'm watching the Book of Boba Fett, I instinctually have to pause the show like so many times just to like compose myself and be like, what is going on? And so then I can take a note. But yeah, with this, I had to like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be paying attention. I'm not. Yeah.
It was. I think I'm in the same boat with Vox Machina. I came home from work on Friday and I had a cheeseburger and some onion rings and turned it on and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be good.
Sounds good.
I do have notes though. So episode 4 is called Shadows at the Gate, and it starts like right when the episode 3 ends, and they're like being scolded by the guards and the king. Is he a king? I don't think the guy is a king. He's like a ruler.
I think the
Duke or something.
Governmental system is more akin to the Skyrim Jarl system, where it's like they're the ruler of one district or city,
right?
More so than there's one.
The sovereign entity is scolding them because he is under the Briarwood's influence, and tells them that they ruined his party and that they're under house arrest.
You ruined my party.
I do have a note for that opening scene though. Vex, the ranger character, girl, she has that line where she says that the king is under the Briarwood's influence, and I don't remember how she knew that automatically.
I don't. Did you say the king, or did you say someone in the court is
the guy, the sovereign? I can't remember if he's a king or not. But I need to go back and watch episode 3 when Lord Briarwood does his magic spell. If like she saw that happen across the table, but it was a little strange to me that like just in cold open, she's like, "Oh, he's under their influence." I was like, "Well." I mean, maybe he's just mad about his party. Like, how does she automatically know that they're under the influence? That was a question I had.
That feels like a Matt
speed up the plot
narrating, and then he was like, "Roll insight," and one person got it. And so I was like, "Okay, you know that that is a thing," and that. Yeah, as a D&D fan,
but we have to analyze it as a narrative.
Yeah. I there are moments where I'm like, I'm seeing how they're adapting it from the D&D medium to this story, and there are things that I like, and episode 4 is a good example. But then there's moments like that where I'm like, okay, that's obviously
that's a D&D mechanic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. In episode 6, there was a moment where it was like, oh, I know exactly what happened here.
Or the scene where they're being chased by the dogs on the cliff. It's like, oh. She just rolled a nat.
Everyone's missing. So everyone's just failing their skill checks. Yeah.
And then, the bard, what's his name, goes off the cliff and he's like, oh, he just rolled a nat 20. Save himself from the.
Well, I knew that he didn't die because he wasn't rolling any death saves.
Yeah.
So. I knew he was still good. Okay. So they're under house arrest in episode 4. Pike has a broken thingy. So she can't talk to the Everlight. And then, I mean, I think episode 4 was definitely my favorite of the set. Because you get those zombie wraiths.
That was interesting, yeah.
Those were cool.
They were so dark and just like really well animated and like just really creepy and really I was digging it. I really liked the vibe of like that's gross and scary, and I think that they in this instance like that they're using the medium very well. because I mean that would cost so much money to do live action, but in animation you can just make it just like just like punch through a wall and like stick your ethereal hand through this guy, and he starts bleeding black goo from his eyes. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah,
we'll say they did a really good Chekhov's light spell at the beginning as they're walking through the secret passage and trying to get magic users to make light, and they're like, oh no, we can't. So the payoff later was good, and that was one example I think of the taking the D&D function of these things are weak to celestial or fire damage, and making it them realizing, oh shoot, we need light or fire to stop these guys, and then having it be a good character and narrative moment where they cut out.
I'm glad you brought that up, Tanner, because that's something I thought as I watched it too, but because I didn't take notes.
It was good. It was a good Chekhov's gun.
Yeah.
The first scene wouldn't necessarily have happened like in the game though. Like you can if you have the spell, you can cast it. But it makes sense to do that as a narrative adaptation.
Right, but you could have tried to make the spell earlier because they needed light,
or she hadn't prepared it yet. It wasn't in her spell book.
There you go.
The entire time I'm watching this, I'm like, okay, I need to analyze it as a narrative, but I'm also just thinking of D&D mechanics. I was like, wait, you can't do that. He moved more than 30 feet on his turn. He didn't disengage, and the enemy did not have an opportunity attack. Foul play.
It was another instance too when you see those guards get devoured by these things. They died, within a matter of seconds, and then and then the main fight, you have the main characters. They're being held suspended in air.
Well, it's because they're level 7 or 8 now.
Okay.
Well, they were level 7 when they fought the dragon, so they're probably level 8 or 8 now or 9.
Exactly. I'm saying that's another D&D thing. Like, it's not realistic if you were just telling the story.
Well, NPCs don't get death saves either.
Exactly.
If they run out of HP, they just die. So that's why all the guards died and the main characters didn't.
It's just funny.
So I really liked the secret tunnel thing.
Secret tunnel.
That to me, like this whole episode, I was thinking of this from a DM's perspective, and I was just like, everything that's happening here is just like a real dick move to do as a DM. Because okay, we're putting in your house arrest, and then they're stuck in their mansion that they haven't really explored all the way, and they're like, okay, well, this is like an expensive person's mansion. Like, I could just see like the players scheming in their heads, like there's got to be some secret tunnels if this is an expensive mansion. And then Matt Mercer's just like, oh crap, I need them to stay here because I have an encounter planned. But they're being really clever, and I don't want to like de-incentivize good role playing. And so I was like, okay, yeah, you find a tunnel, but you get caught coming out of it because it opens up into the courtyard, and there were guards. So now you're still stuck. You can't leave. I have everything planned. Just trust me. Also, I'm going to take away your weapons. I'm going to penalize you for being clever. But by the end of it, it was genius. It was like, look, if you just trust me, because the weapons wouldn't have worked anyway, right? And so he just streamlined the process of them having to think outside the box, right? If they still had their weapons, they would be like more frustrated, I think. But since the fight starts out with, we don't have anything to fight back with, we have to find another way to fight back. Yeah. It turns into a really cool moment and a really good character moment, right? But also it would have been like super rewarding at the table, as like from the get-go. They know like, hey, we don't even have weapons. They wouldn't do good if we had them. We have to use our brains and think of an outside solution. But yeah, the whole time I was just like, oh man, he's like railroading these guys real hard because he's got this encounter planned, but it'll pay off. Like,
yeah, it was good. I liked the internal struggle that Pike had, feeling like she's not useful to the group anymore because she, can't access the Everlight.
Yeah,
and couldn't conjure up the light when she needed to.
I really like Pike and Grog's like friendship dynamic.
Yes.
I think that's really
that
that's
too.
really fun. Anytime they're together, it's just like, oh, these guys they're just really good friends. I hope they don't try and do like a romance there.
I don't see that tonally. I
don't either.
I do see them.
They've hinted at a couple things. There've been 3 hints. There've been in the first
and Pike.
Yeah, there was in the first 3 episodes. In episode 1 or 2, there was like a small moment between Pike and Scanlan, like, oh, because we're both small people. And then in episode 5, there were a few more between Vax and Keyleth and Vex and Percy. So
right.
I don't know. If you're fans of the show, don't spoil it. We don't know who to ship yet.
Yeah.
All right, David, who are you shipping?
I think you
can only pick one pair.
I think
the rest are doomed to not end up together.
Vax and the
Keyleth?
The druid, Keyleth.
Okay.
Yep.
David shipping Vax and Keyleth.
That's my
Tanner,
ship.
who are your picks?
I'm gonna go with Grog and Booze. That's my ship.
He finally ends up with some alcohol.
Yeah, there you go. Hashtag relationship goals.
No, I do. I think the romances they are developing are genuine to the characters.
Yeah.
Like Scallon, like the hints that they've given with him and Pike's romantic involvement are him being very subtle and like not really being upfront with it, which would make sense for a sexual deviant like him,
a horny bard character.
To have a hard time settling down with one person and like being
actually finding a meaningful relationship.
And so like when Pike was like, I got to go off on my own, it was just like a shot of Scallon like looking over his shoulder and not anything like, oh, I'm gonna miss you. So
and I'm shipping Percy and Trinket. So you are exactly right, and we know that we can't help but think about D&D when we play it, when we watch the show. No shipping spoilers.
I think part of it, at least for me and Alan too, is we're in a group and we're waiting for the last session of a campaign, and 2 of our friends have both had to take trips on different weeks, and so we haven't been able to meet up to get our D&D fix.
Yeah, we're one session away from finishing Curse of Strahd.
Yeah.
And this session was delayed previously. We had to stop playing it like 2 years ago, and then we picked it back up to finish it, and it's been delayed again. Obviously I'm not like criticizing the narrative because of the D&D, but I just can't help but think about D&D stuff when I watch the show because it's a D&D show. But yeah, it's a good comment. Thank you, Ice Pepper Aja.
Cool name too.
Wheel of Time. I don't think that's a real Aja, by the way. That's made up. We were
although Ice Pepper Aja, if you're still there in the chat, it looks like you are familiar with the Vox Machina Critical Role shows in the past. I did want to know because Pike just kind of went off on her own thing. It was kind of absent. I was wondering.
I know.
Oh, you know the answer to that?
Yeah.
I was wondering if like she was
she got a job,
miss a couple sessions.
She had a role on a TV show,
Gotcha.
not voice acting.
Yeah.
So she had to like show up at like a regular schedule. There were several. Sorry, There were several times when she was absent from the show. She would often Skype in, but there were big segments where she had left and come back.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
She's like, I've got a real job. I'll be back, guys. I guess my Everlight stopped working. Figure something out.
Yep.
Yeah, I looked up the dates of the show was called Blind Spot, and that was exactly when the Briarwood arc was going on. So
nice.
Pike goes on a solo mission. But yeah, if you know the full details, exactly when she left, and sure, let us know in the chat. That's pretty much episode 4. Like one guard survived, and he's like, "Okay, yeah, just go," because they killed all my guys. I really, really liked episode 4. I just loved how dark it was and how good the animation looked and how creepy it was, and it was just fun.
I agree.
I think 6 was my favorite this week, and I'll say why when we get there.
Okay.
But episode 5, I can't really remember any big things that happened. It felt like it was all setting up for episode 6.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's really cool that the show would be that accommodating to throw in Vox Machina Easter eggs. That's cool. And not a lot of producers like that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
Episode 5, baby. I'm clearly having a problem with my throat right now. I'm trying to fix that.
I think the highlight on episode 5 was the Briarwoods getting a bunch of townsfolk to hang an effigy as just a way to intimidate the main heroes. Like that was
cool.
Move
yeah, I thought they were going to do some sort of like voodoo sacrifice or something like that, and it was like,
I thought they were just going to eat them.
Yeah, I thought it was a vampire. They were the feed for.
But then that's what I thought. That's what I thought initially. But then he gave the small one the little symbol that
I paused it right then. I was like, is that supposed to be the same symbol that Pike had that was broken? And then at the end of the episode, I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's what it was. Okay. I mean, they were obviously going to die, but what happened was way worse than what I thought was going to happen, and I was pleasantly surprised. With that reveal, that was gross and great. Yeah, this episode's Fate's Journey. They get some stuff from the guy who sells stuff.
Oh yeah.
The finger trap thing was funny. Holy water and steaks. And then we get a lot of like.
I want to know how they afforded all this stuff when they couldn't afford it a couple episodes ago.
Well, they just got paid for. Oh no, they didn't have money, right? They got paid in a house.
The deed.
Yeah. Well, I guess they did make it out with a handful of treasures from the dragon, right? Or did Scanlan drop it all? I don't remember.
I think they dropped most of it, but
yeah,
they got some.
Yeah.
The wagon chase was what happened, and that was
that was a cool scene. I like that scene a lot.
Yeah.
Those hounds were cool. I love when the hound fell and then it just ripped itself off from the rock, and it was just these two walking legs. That was great.
That was really dark, and when they first showed them through the fog, I thought they were going to be displacer beasts with the two tails, like that. That's kind of what I would. And then they kind of felt like displacer beasts anyway, because when they use their tongues to like grab things, then displacers have those two like little grabby things, but they were just like weird zombie dogs, obviously a homebrew.
Cool, though.
I really liked the design of those. But we also got some like interpersonal moments between the party. Right, we had like a Vax and Keyleth kind of flirting, and then a little bit of chemistry between Vex and Percy as well, with him being serious and then making jokes out of it. But they also bring up the Whispered One again, reading the book, and a ziggurat, which is a thing for talking to gods, which is what the Whispered One is. So that's like the big bad of the whole show. And then Grog had that nice moment where he's thinking about Pike. And then Cool Dogs. Oh, there was a really subtle moment in that the chase scene where Keyleth uses like a charm beast on one of the dogs.
Yeah.
Did you catch that?
Yeah.
I saw that. I was like, she's dread. With her eyes, and then the dog's eyes, like, and then he like Grog like hammers it out of the back of the wagon.
Yeah.
I think that the wagon chase itself could have been a little bit more dynamic. Like it was kind of just, hey, we're going straight for a long time, but budget constraints.
Yeah. I will say, I was super sad that the horses and the cart flew off.
Oh yeah, the horses.
Yeah.
No,
and they died.
I was happy that the dogs fell off the cliff.
Yeah, that I was fine with, and that I mean, like the Disney-fied version of it would have been they stopped the cart just in time, or like Grog.
Yep.
Nope. The horses
nope. They saved their own butts, and the horses were tools.
Yep.
Because I started playing Red Dead Redemption 2 this week, and I'm getting very attached.
You told you. I'm sorry about my voice, guys. You told me that, and I just like looked, and it's on sale for computer too, and I'm like, I want it, but I don't know. I don't exactly have time for video games.
Yeah.
You remember 2 weeks ago when I said I was going to play this Knights of the Old Republic? I downloaded 1 and 2, and then I haven't started them yet because Corwin told me that I needed to look at some mods, and then I went down a mod rabbit hole, and I haven't even played the game yet.
Just the one mod for the second game. You can play the first game, no mods.
No, I was just like looking at mods. I was like, wait, I'm supposed to be playing the game. So I can wait till Red Dead Redemption gets a little cheaper before I buy it because
there's a lot out there to play now.
I wouldn't have bought it if it wasn't on sale. I
never pay full price for games.
Cards, cards on the table. This last episode of Boba Fett gave me a real Western, like the opening scene with the Marshal. I was like, oh yeah, cowboys, yeah. And I was in a big cowboy mood for other reasons. And so I was like, I wonder if Red Dead Redemption. And so on Friday, I looked at it and it was on sale, and it was $25 instead of $60. So I was like,
yeah.
So
I buy games 5 to 10 years after they're released.
Yeah.
Yep.
For like a fraction of the price because I have so many that I haven't played yet. I was like, I could spend money on this brand new game, or I could play the games that I have. And then in 5 years, I could play this brand new game.
Exactly. I put a rule on myself. I will not buy a game unless it's $10 or 50% of its original price, at least.
That's a good rule. So, yeah.
Don't
pre-order, boys.
Never, ever pre-order.
Wow. Okay. So, Vox Machina. The dogs, the impaled dog flipping around and then crawling off was just great. Really good visual, and then we get that pendant thing with the little girl. I don't know like half of the spells that Scanlan uses. I'm thinking D&D again, right? Mechanically. I don't know if
this magic hand thing.
Well, yeah. Well, it's almost like it's better mage hand, right? Because he can lift himself up. Mage hand can only lift like 5 pounds. Is that it? I can't remember the specific role, but it's like mage hand, but like way better. And then like the shape changing thing that he did later.
That was motion, I thought. Or
there was a third.
Did Scanlan
It was
change?
from a scroll. It was from a scroll.
Right. Yeah.
It was from a scroll.
I forgot that.
Yeah. That moment was a little weird for me. Like it kind of came out of nowhere, and I didn't really know how it served the narrative. He was just like, "Hey, I have a scroll. What does it do?" I'm assuming it'll come up later because he's going to use it. But he also has he can make illusions. Like he made a copy of the whole team when they were fighting the dragon, and then in episode 6 he makes a copy of himself. I'm like, I feel like it's either like a multi-class or like just like some custom spells. And I'm like, I don't know what these spells are. And I'm like, it's not like a criticism. I'm just like, I want to know what spells he's using because I think like out of curiosity.
I think they might be more just adapted for the animation in the show rather than one-to-one.
I still want to know what the spells are, right? With Percy, so it's like, oh, he's a custom class. They made it, so I can't. Oh yeah, they have to. That's a really good point. They're reskinning a lot of the monsters for trademark reasons. Yeah, Wizards of the Coast. You can criticize the decision, but you also have to respect it. They trademarked everything. And they trademarked like classical like monsters like that have repeated in history. I don't know how they got the trademarks for some of the things that they have trademarked, but it's like classic like Greek mythology monsters. They own the names to, and so like I know this very well because I purchase minis, and if you buy them from anyone else that's not Wizards of the Coast, they have to have different names for 80% of the beasts. Yeah. It's Big B's hand and polymorph. Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, they haven't referenced a single class by name, but we all know what they are except for Percy's. He's a smoke gun guy.
I'm wondering. I was looking at some of the Blood Hunter is the class I think that
they created.
Popularity. Yeah. I don't know if that's it, but oh boy, did I like Percy in episode 6.
Yeah,
I just don't know what it is. What does it do?
Yeah,
he gets smoky, but like the smoke hasn't done anything. I don't know what it is.
It's some kind of revenge. Like I loved. Can we get into episode 6 stuff?
Yeah.
I guess in 5 we also saw as he was flicking his revolver, like the names of the people he wanted to get revenge. That was
cool. That was very cool.
When it first revealed, it felt a little like too edgy for me. But the fact that in episode 6 that they're disappearing when he kills the person made it better. Because it's like, oh, he's like made a pact. This is some kind of like warlock thing. He's made a pact where like he got these powers so that he could get revenge. And like when he finishes, maybe like his powers are gone or something, like some kind of sacrifice. But like when I first saw the names on the revolver in episode 5, I was like, this is pretty like edgelord. Like it's a little cringy, but like I liked it much more in episode 6.
Yeah, I agree. At first, too, it was kind of like, this bullet is for, the vampire lord guy. This bullet is for, whatever. But then when he kills the guy, he unloads the whole gun on him.
Yeah.
And then the name disappears. So
the names aren't on the bullets.
But it was good.
They're on the barrel.
Right.
Barrels.
But, there's one bullet per barrel until you reload.
I got to give them props for just having it be visual storytelling.
Yeah.
And not
wordless. Not a single word about it, but you know what it is.
Characters being like, Percy, why is
written
Luke
words
Briarwood's
technically
name
still words?
Well, yeah, but it wasn't
zero dialogue explaining what's going on, but you know what's going on. Like, oh, okay, he's clearly got some kind of magical thing for revenge. Really cool. Yeah, really good way of visual storytelling. Good stuff. Yeah. Before we talk about episode 6, though, I mean, like we're already talking about it, but we got the campfire scene where they talk about their most strangest creature that they killed, which sometimes turns into weirdest type of kill. And then we get some more cartoon nudities.
Yeah, as soon as Scanlan spoke up, I'm like, oh no, here we go. What's it gonna be this time?
Like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Obviously, again, like I don't want to jump into someone else's fandom and tell them what they can and can't like. It just feels out of place for me though. I don't like it's not my thing. You know, like I'm married, okay? If I want to see boobies, I can pay my wife $10. I don't need animated nudity. So
if I could speak to it, I think the token horny character is a drawback for a lot of popular media because the trope is very common in anime.
It's a very common trope for bards specifically that they just want to go and sleep with everyone. And Scanlan, I don't know. Scanlan is by far my least favorite character so far. Nothing against the voice actor. I think he's acted well. I just don't think he's very interesting because he's so one note and cliche. I haven't seen anything that stands out as like, this is the trope, but with a twist. You know, it just feels like the trope to me, which isn't super interesting to me. There's no like drive behind it. There's no want other than sex
and money to pay for sex.
Yep.
Yeah.
I over the summer I got into My Hero Academia, and like good show, great characters, good story, clear motivations, but there's one kid that is just a horn dog, and it's like anytime he comes up, it's just like, like come on, like why? I guess my question is why does this have to be a thing? Like, I don't think it's necessary.
I don't think it adds anything either.
No, yeah. I could maybe see it paying off if they, he gives up his precocious ways because he has some kind of affection for Pike, but and like that could be the payoff, but just.
Yeah, as of now, I don't think it's added anything, and I haven't liked it. So, I like most of the other characters, but not really loving Scanlan. I thought it was super weird that they left the bear behind.
Did they leave the bear behind?
Yeah, in episode 4, they're like, "Sorry, you can't come. You'll be safer here." I was like, bear would be super useful against. I guess he doesn't fit in their wagon, but I think he'd walk behind him. I don't know.
Yeah. I think Ice Pepperaj's note about horses are hard to draw maybe applies to bears too.
I think bears are easier because it's furry. The fur masks the
anatomy.
Yeah.
Well,
have you ever seen a picture of a furless bear?
They're weird.
It's off-putting. It's very strange.
Weird.
Go look up furless bears.
or even a bear skull. It doesn't look like a bear.
You won't sleep tonight.
I do that right now.
Episode 6, Spark of Rebellion. You, Tanner, you like this one the best.
Yeah, I think atmospherically. The town.
I liked it a lot because we're going through Curse of Strahd right now, and okay, this is their version of Strahd. This is their version of Vallaki, and
I liked from the get go. We had the rebellion. But
I did not think I was not expecting that. There to be an active resistance going on in the city. I was like, oh, that's an interesting narrative way to take it. I thought it was just going to be the heroes who show up and save the day.
The giant just coming in and the opening sequence was the giant just coming in and killing a bunch of people. That was kind of a shocking.
I really liked just the idea of a zombie giant.
Yeah,
and that's how he's being used. Just patrol the streets at night. like that is that's scary.
That's scary.
Like that will quell a lot of insurrection, right? Like, don't go out at night. Why? Because there's a zombie guy, a big giant zombie who will smash your head in. Maybe don't go out at night for that. Like that's just a really good suppression tactic. I dig it.
But more the the Percy backstory and the betrayal of the officers and the tutor, just seeing them. I love how
what race are they? The weird green skin guy, and then
like the
big
toad looking dude with the hammer,
and then the Goliath is like blue.
Yeah,
I don't know,
but I love that guy with the hammer. I love just how bloated and
like boils on his skin.
Yes, like he's a gross looking dude, and I love that character design.
He was designed really well,
and give me this episode just gives you the willies.
And spoilers, he gets killed off at the end, but he had a lot of like good moments before that, like when he kills that female revolutionary resistance fighter, like hammer to the head. I was just like, oh, like this guy's got to go. They do a really good job in a really short amount of time of he was a really good character.
I think one of my favorite moments was during the prison break. Vex shoots an arrow at him, and he grabs the guard next to him and
so impractical.
That was it was badass though.
Yeah,
he had time to grab some guy and put his neck in front of the arrow. He also had time to just step aside, but it worked really well. Yeah. I'm like, oh, this guy's not nice. It was a cool moment. Cool. If you think about it, doesn't make a lot of sense, but really cool.
No. So this was just full of cool moments like that.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why I liked it was one atmospherically the setting was so well done, and just the creepiness of it was great, and then two, full of those moments that you have playing at a D&D table where either something awesome happens and it's like, dang, or something doesn't go according to plan and it's hilarious.
Like you roll a nat 1 and can't pick open the back door. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, someone rolled a 1 here because they're making so many jokes about it. Like, oh, that door was cursed. I opened the cell block in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I was like,
that's exactly what happened.
He rolled a 1. Tell us in the comments, Ice Pepper, he rolled a 1 to open that door, right? Yeah. I have a question though, talking about Boily Frog guy. Just logistically, I'm having trouble understanding what this means. I'm gonna have fun burning you off my balls.
I was confused on that line too.
What?
Who did he say it to?
The opening scene, with the resistance, the short guy, Percy's friend, childhood friend.
Yeah,
they all captured. He's like, I'm gonna have fun burning you off my balls.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Maybe it's a metaphor.
What does it mean, though? For what? What's it a metaphor for?
The resistance is the genital herpes that this character experiences.
Okay. I'm just trying to understand the implications. Okay, first off, the guy has to get onto his balls, right? So maybe he like beats him to a bloody pulp, and he's just a slosh that some of it splashes onto the bad guy's balls, right? And the solution to that, let's burn it all. That's not. I'm sorry. That's not. Well, that's not the kind of cleaner that you want to use down there.
In a fantasy setting, they don't have body wash, and you want to be sanitary. So I mean, like that's how you do it. You burn stuff. You don't have rubbing alcohol.
I thought it was a really funny. I liked the line a lot. I'm just making fun of it because it makes no sense. But that's why I like. I think I don't know. I like the idea of some villain, and I'm sad that he's dead because I wish it was like a recurring thing where like just a villain who just like tries to come up with one-liners or metaphors like that that are just like, what? He tries to be intimidating in the worst way possible.
Yeah, that would be fun.
It's kind of a trope. It's been done, and it's usually turns into like a gay joke. Like, oh, I'm gonna pound you so hard. Like, oh man, that sounded gay, right? That's like a common thing in media, but like this was like way better. It doesn't make it. I don't know what it means. What does it mean, Tanner?
Ice Pepper's got the answer for you in the chat.
Oh,
yeah, throw that up.
And that makes total sense.
Okay,
because I mean, that is one way to get ticks off of you.
Yeah, you burn
them until they get out. Word of advice: if anyone's watching, I've been told if you do,
they burrow deeper. Don't do it.
They burrow deeper, or they'll throw up into your skin, and that can cause more diseases.
Yeah.
So better to just.
A lot of people think that's how you take ticks out. So thank you so much. That explains the comment. But don't do that for ticks ever. That is the opposite of what you want to do. What you do is you grab the butt. You have to be careful. You grab the butt of the tick, and you pull it up slightly. If you pull too hard, the head will break off and dislodge, and the head is stuck in your skin. You just grab the butt and slightly pull up, and you just hold it. So you'll see the skin, pull up like that. And you just hold it for a couple, 20 seconds, and the tick will release, and then you can squish it. You don't twist. You don't burn them. They'll burrow deeper.
Back in medieval times, they did have all sorts of cure-all remedies and leeches and all sorts of stuff. So,
yes,
it wasn't necessarily the best practice.
Don't listen to Christian medical advice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, but it'll be a fun time burning you up my balls. Where were we?
Episode 6. Other things I love. My favorite D&D character is a dwarf, and I just really like jacked dwarfs that can wreck stuff. Mm-hmm. So Percy's friend, who was the resistance leader, I really liked him. He's also
his name.
He's also voiced by one of the hobbits.
That was Dominic Monaghan.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, his character was cool.
Yeah, I liked it.
I got excited for a sec because he was doing like a Scottish accent. I thought David Tennant was back for a second, but still pleased with who they got to do that.
The Goliath guy who comes in to torture him, tearing his ear off was really unique, and I liked that a lot, and I didn't like it.
I didn't notice
in a good way.
Did it show his ear missing when they were escaping?
I think he has a bandage around it.
It showed him after, so it showed him just start to tear. And it cut away. I was like, oh, thank the Lord. But then it cut back, and it was just like a mat of blood. And the audio cues when it cuts away implies he just tore the thing off.
Yeah,
which is awesome. It gave me flashbacks and PTSD from reading First Law, which I highly recommend everyone does. But there is a torture scene in that book that I will not spoil. But that started happening, and I was no. I just emotionally recovered from reading First Law. I don't need to go back there. Just a red splotch, yeah. Read First Law. It'll mess you up. So, torture. And there was I don't know if it was an Easter egg per se, but Scanlan's character mentions, "Oh, I could wear a beret." That was an interesting note because like all of the artistic depictions of his character before the show, he's always wearing a beret, like it's like his standard getup. And so I was like, "Oh, is this where he gets it from?" It was just a random comment. It was a joke that just turned into a thing that his character always did. I don't know. Let us know in the comments.
I thought that was just a Les Miserables French Revolution joke.
Yeah, but like his character is always depicted with a beret, and so I was like, "Oh, that was a nice joke." But I was like, "Is that where it came from? Was it just an offshoot joke, and then it just became his character?" I don't know. I would like to know. Yeah, and I liked the heist scene. I like planning the heist where they're all standing around the map and they each like that just felt so D&D to me of like oh we have to make a plan and everyone just has horrible ideas and we all have to take turns giving our horrible ideas. It was fun. And Grog's solution, it's super easy. You go in and you kill everybody and then you leave. I love Grog's character. He's my favorite. So
these episodes have really endeared me to him. The first couple, I was kind of like, he's the dumb barbarian. But a couple of things that made, like in the first couple of episodes when he's like, "Will you get me a sandwich?" That I was like, okay. And then his relationship with Pike, and he's grown on me a lot. I really like.
Yeah, Pike for me is an example of how to do the trope well. Like, unlike how they've done Scanlan so far, which I'm not a huge fan of, Grog is a very stereotypical idiot barbarian. But it's done well. It's not just, "Oh, I'm stupid." He's like soulful, you know? And like the jokes that he makes are actually really, really clever. Like, you have to be a smart person to write those kind of jokes for a dumb person. And it's very clever in how it chooses to be dumb. I really like Grog's character.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
Apparently the actor was in Les Mis as a kid. But I'm right that his character is almost always depicted wearing a beret, right? All the pictures I've seen, like in his bio, he's wearing a beret. And he did wear a beret to the fancy ball when they had to dress up nice.
Yeah, with this codpiece, this salmon rainbow codpiece thing or whatever.
Yeah, I liked that. That was funny. It's a little codpiece.
Spoilers. Okay.
Spoilers. Okay. It's a costume. Cool. It's costume's not a spoiler. Unless he gets a magical codpiece in the future.
I do like the we're getting to know the characters a lot more, and of course we've got a lot of them to go through. But I appreciate we're getting the backstory on Percy, and I hope we get more backstory for some of these other characters as well, because it's been good.
Yeah, because Percy's
character development moments.
Yeah, Percy definitely has the most that we know of now, like development wise, like character growth.
Right.
I think the twins, we kind of get their vibe just through like their dialogue cues throughout the show of like they kind of have a similar backstory to Percy, not as rough. And then and Keyleth was done really well in these 3 episodes of kind of giving a little bit of exposition of like, oh, she's like a princess,
right,
who has to go and prove herself, and so she
can rule her
village.
I hope we get more direct backstory like we're getting for Percy.
I want backstory for Grog. I want to know what his deal is. Yeah. And then about talking about Percy though, the frog guy, villain hammer dude, who that's his official title, by the way. When he confronts him and he starts smoking, right? And he asks, "What are you supposed to be, freak?" And I was like, no, please tell me. I want to know what Percy is, please. In the chat, if you know, just tell me the name of the class that they created for Percy. Okay, no spoilers. I just want to know what the name of the class is because clearly custom.
I do want to say I loved the shot where Percy sees through the bars the guy that he's trying to get revenge on,
and it's like, oh, we had a plan, and I don't care about it anymore. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that was cool. Very well done with that.
And then the episode ends with the reveal that his sister's still alive. I'm not sure which sister this is. Was that supposed to be the sister that got shot in the back with a bunch of arrows?
That was the
or his older one,
I believe.
Because he had other family that was killed. But okay, I guess it's the same one. Corwin, welcome to the show.
Yeah, sorry, I had some official stuff that I had to get done, so
it's all good.
Right.
Gunslinger subclass, Arrow sister. Okay, thanks for confirming those.
So are we talking about Ex Machina, or are we talking about Mandalorian, or what are we talking about?
Yeah, we pretty much just finished talking about Vox Machina, like going through the episodes, but I'm sure we have other thoughts. Yeah,
I covered everything I had to say about it.
I like it. I just wish they wouldn't put cartoon nudity in it. So it's unnecessary.
You don't like Japanese? What is it called? Hentai? Alan?
Hentai?
Is that what you're telling me? You're not a hentai fan?
No, I made a really funny joke that no one laughed at, though. I said, if I want to see boobs, I can just pay my wife $10.
Nah.
Well, I mean, I heard it yesterday, so
I know. I made it yesterday. I was like, oh, that was good. I'm going to use it for the show. It was a gunslinger port from Pathfinder. Oh yeah. They started off playing Pathfinder and they ported it over to D&D when they started streaming it because they got like deals from Wizards of the Coast to be sponsors. Yeah. So what do you think? We just finished talking about Vox Machina. Corin, what do you think?
I only saw the first couple. I liked it.
I liked it.
You cut off right when you started talking.
Oh, did I cut off?
I only saw the first couple episodes. I liked it, and then just left.
Yeah, no.
Okay, all right. Well, that's been Corwin's thoughts. See you next week.
End of discussion. I liked it more than I thought I would. I'm not up to where you guys are at, just because I've had a super busy week. It's my long week. So I work 5 this week. I worked 6 out of the 7 days. So literally, like, I was planning on doing it a little bit over the weekend, but it's been a really long week. Last night, anyway. So but I liked it more than I thought I would. So I'm excited to see more.
Yeah.
I don't have a ton of thoughts on it simply because I'm not as vested in it as like you, for example, Alan, or other people that know what's going on. So I don't have an opinion other than the fact of I'm still going to watch it. And for me, I'm not a TV show guy, like at all. Right. I'll watch a few episodes of anything, and I'm like, all right, I'm done. So for me to say I enjoyed it, and I'm going to spend my next 3 evenings watching it, that actually, for most people, that's pretty darn good. I'm pretty hard to please TV show wise.
I've become less and less a TV guy. Like I used to watch a lot more TV, and now that I'm older, if I start watching a TV show and I'm just like not having a good time, I usually like, well, there are so many TV shows out there. I don't see why I need to keep watching this one that I'm not only enjoying a little bit.
Yeah. I just get bored.
Yeah.
I think I'm the same way. I used to not be that way. I used to be completionist. Like if I started the show, I got to finish it to the end. And then the show that finally broke that for me was the DC Arrow show.
Yep,
like
same.
It was so not good.
That was the same one that I stopped.
Yeah, I forced myself to keep watching it. I think I finished season 3 or maybe halfway through season 4. I'm like, you know what? I'm not enjoying this. I'm not going to finish this series. And I just stopped. And I was like,
I'm happier now.
I'm happier. I don't have to watch bad TV shows.
I thought Arrow was so good up until season I think it was like season 3. And then it just
No, I don't think it was ever.
I couldn't get past the hypocrisy of season 1. So he would pick the bad guy who was like a super rich evil capitalist, right? And he would murder like hundreds of that guy's henchmen with his arrows, straight up kill them, and then he would get to the guy in charge and be like, I'm gonna give you a second chance. That was every villain in season 1 was like, he would get to them and be like, okay, now here's your chance to be a better person. What about the hundreds of people you just killed to get there? They were just following orders. I know that's what the Nazis said. Okay, I'm not justifying it. That was more
season 3. That was
season 1. I only watched season 1.
He killed everybody in season 1, bro.
Yeah,
everybody. He was killing people. Everybody.
He was just killing everyone except for the people in charge. That's why I stopped watching the show. I'd never watched season 2 or 3. That's why I stopped.
I'd have to go back and rewatch it because I remember him scratching. Because he had a little diary thing, and he would literally scratch names after he killed them. Like that was the whole season 1 premise, was he was scratching off their names because they were this evil people in the book, and he killed them and he was done. And then he had some come to Jesus moment and was like, I think that might be season 2, where he's like, I'm not killing anybody. And then his girlfriend Felicity, if I remember correctly, it's been years since I've seen this, but Felicity gets like trapped, and he's just made that whole pledge of I'm not killing anybody thing. And you're right, after I've just killed a whole bunch of henchmen, and he gets the bad guy and he's like, ugh. And then he ends up having to kill that guy to save his girlfriend because he realizes he doesn't have to. And then there's this whole moral.
And he was always torn up about it. And I was like, you just murdered hundreds of people. Why do you?
I'm pretty sure the first few episodes he was just whacking everybody, because I remember him scratching the names off.
All I know is that's the exact reason why I stopped watching the show. So he may have killed some of the top guys, but most of the time he was just letting them get off.
I stopped watching the show mostly because, again, I get bored with TV shows, but whatever his annoying ex-girlfriend's name was, what was her name?
Laurel?
I don't know.
Laurel, yeah.
The one that was on the boat.
She's
a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, we're keeping this PG rated, so I won't say what she is, but she was something that rhymes with witch. I could not stand
Switch?
her life. She was a switch.
Yeah,
she was a switch. She was a footing switch.
Okay,
I think that's why I stopped watching too. Is all the supporting characters, they were just. I hated every single one of them. I didn't like a single, like his sister, his mom, like everyone in the show I hated. Anyways, go ahead and answer the question.
I like this question a lot. Before we've already stopped talking about Vox Machina. Before we stop talking about Vox Machina, compare the first 3 hours of Wheel of Time to the first 3 hours of The Legend of Vox Machina. So everything, all the 6 episodes we've seen of Vox Machina versus the first 3 episodes of Wheel of Time that dropped all at once. Because they're both a big cast, a big world, a very dedicated wacko rabid fan base. Yes, tons of material, very different medium. That's a good question.
Can I chime in first?
They are kind of hard to compare because they are very different. In their similarities, they're very different. But yeah, I want to hear from you, Tanner.
I think Legend of Vox Machina is more accessible to casual viewers than the Wheel of Time was, because, and I've hesitated to say this, like I was along for the reactions as kind of a new viewer, new to the world and everything.
When you were watching Wheel of Time.
Yeah, I enjoyed the book a lot. I still haven't watched the finale of the series.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
You didn't make our last episode because you hadn't watched it yet.
Because unfortunately, there was a lot of talking. There's a lot of just people going back and forth about the drama, and that can be appealing to some people. But with Legend of Vox Machina, I think they do a good job at balancing exciting set pieces, good character moments between the group, and then also developing the lore and the ideas of the world that you live in. I think I will say Legend of Vox Machina does have it a bit easier because it is in the fantasy role-playing universe that many of us know already.
Yes.
But Wheel of Time...
It has that advantage.
Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time has to set up an entirely new world that, unless you've read the books, there's a lot of exposition. You have to give a lot of backstory, and it's a bigger task.
Yeah, and that being said, too, even if we're not familiar with Dungeons and Dragons or role playing games, it's still
generic fantasy world.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, but I thought they've done a very good job of giving all the characters moments to shine. We get bits of character exposition interspersed with action sequences and witty banter and the stuff that typically comes from this type of D&D romp. But it's been very well balanced and great. I think Wheel of Time has had its highs and lows, but overall it was kind of convoluted and confusing. And that's coming again from someone who hasn't read the books. If I hadn't have had been on this show talking about it and talking through some of the differences of the books, I wouldn't have understood where they were trying to go with it. It was just not very well explained at all.
If you hadn't had me explaining everything.
Exactly. Exactly. Like the character motivations, I don't know what did they want.
My wife watching the Wheel of Time with me had a very similar experience. I had to explain tons of stuff to her. I think where the Wheel of Time fails, and if you've been watching this show or an after show, I have several complaints about the Wheel of Time, the last half of season 1. I think the first half was much better. I think its biggest failure is that the focus was in the wrong place for the Wheel of Time season 1. It tried to streamline a lot of world building and take the story of the first book and bring it more in line with the rest of the series, because for the majority of the Wheel of Time series, it's very much like Dune or Game of Thrones in that it's like political intrigue, right? There are a bunch of pieces, there are a bunch of cultures and different forces who all have different goals, and it's about the weaving of those things and trying to make everyone trying to get what they want, right? Really good political intrigue, and it's not present at all in book 1 or 2, or like a little bit in book 3, but that stuff really starts in book 4. And so and book 1 is kind of an outlier, in that it takes place entirely from Rand's perspective. And then the later books branch out and give you a bunch of different viewpoints. And so from the get-go, they tried to make season 1 more like the majority of the series. And I don't think that they did a good job of that. A lot of the changes they made weren't bad. It was good things that they were including, but it came at the cost of not being invested in any of the main characters. What season 1 should have done, it should have just focused, just spread it out a little bit. Book 1 was basically just Rand's story. It's entirely his perspective. Okay. I think there's like 2 chapters that you get from Perrin. Okay. It should have spread it out a little bit and just focused on the boys and Egwene.
Yeah.
Right. And even a little bit of Nynaeve. It should have just focused on the Emmonsfield kids and saved a lot of the Moraine story for later, because there's so much of it later. You're gonna get it, right? I understand why they wanted to include that stuff, and not that I didn't. A lot of diehard fans complained about all of the extra stuff they were adding, and I don't think that, for the most part, most of the extra stuff that they added to Wheel of Time was good. It just came at the cost of something better. And so the main characters really suffered. And by the end of season 1, you don't care about the main character, Rand, who is, spoilers, the Dragon Reborn. You don't get his struggle at all. And by the end, it's just comes in out of nowhere if you haven't read the books, and you don't care about him. Book 1 is actually really beautiful in that you don't explicitly know that he's the Dragon Reborn, but you know from the get-go that he can channel, and you know that that's a bad thing. And so you get this beautiful struggle of, hey, if I'm the Dragon Reborn, I have to save the world, which means I will have to learn how to channel. And that also means I will go crazy and probably kill everyone that I love. And it's a great moral dilemma of like, hey, if I'm just a regular channeler, I want to not do that, so because I don't want to go crazy. But if I'm the Dragon Reborn, I have to. And you just don't get any of that in season 1.
So in the book, because I haven't read the book yet, my mom stole the book from me. Yeah. And then she wrecked it, and so she has to buy me a new copy. She did. She gave it back to me, and I was like, Mom, I'm kind of a book snob. I try to keep my books nice. It doesn't mean they don't look red, but my mom ears the crap out of them, and it's bad. Anyway, so she's buying me a new copy. But so in the book, does he start to hear all the voices and start to have that battle in the book? In the show, it doesn't seem that way. In the show, because they showed the whole...
They showed Lews Therin.
Right, the false dragon, and they have that whole episode, and you get to hear the voices in his head,
yes.
And you get to see how strong he is, but how he also is crazy. But then with Rand, at the very end, after he, again, spoilers, Dragon Reborn and does whatever he does with the Dark One, because that's as much as I know of the story is the show. It doesn't... He's it means I'm going to go crazy. But he's not, it doesn't say he's got voices.
So the voices that you saw, the two people, which visually was done super well with Lews Therin,
absolutely,
with it, kind of a schizophrenia vibe of the two voices talking to him. That is the madness that you get after having channeled for a long time. So just being able to channel will not make you go mad, but if you keep using the madness, if you keep channeling, because the magic source is tainted by the Dark One, the more you use it, you will inevitably go crazy always. So Rand is not crazy yet, but he knows that if he does channel, he will go crazy.
Gotcha. Okay.
And to specifically answer the question, because I've gone off the rails just a little bit, complaining about things that I care about. I think the biggest difference is, shockingly, because Vox Machina has even more characters to focus on. I'm invested in all of the characters in Vox Machina, and I'm not, especially if I hadn't read the books, I don't care about most of the characters in the Wheel of Time. Like Perrin does nothing. Matt doesn't do anything, right?
And they started they started off so well, with Perrin killing at least in the Wheel of Time, Perrin killing his wife, that was heartbreaking. As someone who has been in combat and has seen all that stuff, that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, they have a lot that they could have done, and they didn't go anywhere because the difference is Vox Machina, while they are telling a story, the focus of these 6 episodes has really been on developing the characters. In Wheel of Time, the focus was getting out some world building and showing how cool Moraine is. I love Moraine as a character. She had way too much screen time in season 1. And it came at the cost of not caring about any of the main characters.
But even with all the supposed world building that you said they did, it still didn't explain anything. How the magic works, anything.
I chalk that down to it's got a lot more work to do, to be fair.
Sure.
But yeah, it doesn't explain how the magic works. They haven't gone to the magic school yet. You'll get that in book 2, season 2, when the girls go to magic school and they learn how to use the magic. You'll get the Hogwarts stuff.
Right.
It suffered from that fine line when you're turning a book into a movie or into a TV show. Harry Potter is a fantastic example. I haven't read the books in a few years, but I've read them several times, and the movies are very well done as movies. They are. You can complain about them, and there's problems with them, but as far as flow and movies go, they're pretty well done.
Pacing wise, okay. I hate the moment in the last movie. Let's finish this the way we started it, together.
There's always cheesy stuff, but what I'm saying is,
you mean with you killing my parents? That's how it started. Like,
they did a really
good.
A really good job pacing wise. They did a really good job storytelling wise, but they did leave out really cool stuff out of the books.
They have to leave out so much.
That were big parts of the book. So I think it's just that struggle of we only have so many episodes. And we need to pack in a lot of story, and we only have so much budget. And I think what they need to do, and this went for Game of Thrones as well, all of the season 8 and half of season 7, but with Wheel of Time specifically, if they would have just stretched it out another 2 episodes. Another 2 episodes, it would have given us a better impact. Instead, they were just trying to just compress all that story, throw it into the show, and it did. It left confusing. I just had to take everything at face value. I didn't read into anything deeper. I wasn't like, how does the magic work? And how does this? I was just like, women can do magic and guys can't. But then, like, when the Asians show up, and that's not being racist, the Asian society shows up, I'm like, where did they come from? Like, all we've seen is this samurai sword, this katana thing, and next thing you know, there's this whole like city race of very Asian influenced people with they have a great wall, and they've been guarding like it was. They have a great wall, and they've been and this is also 300.
The Great Wall of Faldara.
Yeah, the Great Wall of Faldara, and now it's 300 because they have to come through here. But we've been guarding like frickin' Minas Tirith, Mordor, the Dark Ones. But like that came out of nowhere. It was just suddenly there, and you're just They needed a few more episodes to
sink in,
pull out the story, and not in a Hobbit, the Battle of the Five Armies sort of way, where 2 pages becomes a 3-hour movie, but even we need to explain a few things. We need to have a few in-depth character stuff, and then it would be just a better overall series.
Yeah, but
I'm hoping.
Sorry, finish.
No, go ahead.
I'm just saying. Yes, it needed more time. It needed more episodes, but they knew that they didn't have that time, and they still chose to focus on other things.
Exactly.
That if they hadn't focused on, they could have made those changes, the things that you're talking about, less jarring. I had a point and I just forgot what it was. I will say that to the show's defense, once again, you don't really learn how the magic works in book 1 either. Because it's supposed to be kind of more mysterious in book 1, because the big crux of book 1 is like, who's going to be the Dragon Reborn, and so you don't know how it works, but you do know that it does work.
Well, do you know that there's 2 sides of the magic, and that
yes,
they don't explain that. They don't explain that. They
explain
that in the animated.
It's explained in the bonus content. You have to watch that too.
Exactly. The animated bonus content. No, it needs to be in the main show.
Yeah. Yes, the magic is 2 sides of the same coin, right?
But to answer the question specifically, me seeing just the first like hour and a half ish of Vox Machina.
Let's bring the question up. So
the question, the first 3 hours of Wheel of Time and the first 3 hours of Vox Machina, I've only seen maybe an hour and a half of Vox Machina, but the first 3 hours of Wheel of Time are really good, in my opinion. I thought the first 3 episodes were very good.
It's the later hours that suffer.
That suffer. Honestly, there's 8 episodes, right, in total?
Yes.
I think it's like episode 6 where it really.
Yep. 6, 7, and 8.
6, 7, and 8 just kind of go. Whereas 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are really good. And it's funny that you say that. We say it's episode 6 because I remember getting bored at episode 6. It took me just a couple of weeks to go through 1 through 5. After I watched 6, it took me a month to sit down with my wife to watch 7 and 8. It took me that long.
Wow.
Vox Machina, like I said, I'm interested in it, and I'm going to keep watching it. So I hope it continues to intrigue me, and I don't get bored of it. And the way it's going, I don't think that'll be the case. But I didn't think about that on the Wheel of Time either, and it did. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, Ice Pepper Raja, I hope you're happy that you derailed our entire show for 30 minutes. Thanks for that.
He's probably not here anymore.
I think that's the sign of a good nerd conversation, right? Is how many tangents and how long they go on for.
Oh, he's still here.
That's the sign of a good thing. Yeah, I am still here. I just didn't have any more to say, and so I got to listen, and it was nice. So thank you.
Yeah, watch the last episode so you can complain about it. I was not a fan of the finale. Okay. Let's talk about.
I don't know what I was expecting with Wheel of Time's finale, but it sure as heck was not that. We don't need to get into it, but as an on-book person, I don't know what I was expecting really, but it definitely wasn't that. And I'm not saying it was bad.
It was bad.
It was bad.
The finale was bad.
Again, I'm not going from the book standard. I'm just going from it was very unique. And I can see how it was. It was appetizing. I mean, the religious person going into, so we don't need to go on for 30 minutes.
The pluses of the finale, I really liked the conversation between Rand and the bad guy.
Yeah.
I thought that was done really well. Everything else in the finale,
yes. I guess that's what I'm saying. When the Dragon Reborn meets the Dark One, I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
And that was refreshing. I like I said, I don't know what I was expecting.
Really, really well.
Because I remember Maureen was like, anyone who's there with the two of them, they're gonna die. So I'm like,
and then nothing happens to her.
Right, but I'm expecting this like major magic battle, right? And then she gives in this whole like, and this is, I hate when they do this. There's 2 things that piss me off in fantasy shows more than anything else. One is time travel. I despise anything to do with time travel unless it's like a time travel book, like entirely. Okay, whatever. But right. Like,
you're gonna hate the Wheel of Time season 1 part 2.
Oh, I'm
just kidding.
It's just, but like, Harry Potter's.
It comes after season 8. You go back to season 1.
Anytime you mess with time, it just screws. Time just opens up so many loopholes. Like one of the best parts, like of Rick and Morty, is they actually have, because I'm a Rick and Morty fan, on Rick's shelf it says time travel stuff, and it's literally put on a shelf. Like we put time travel stuff on a shelf because it sucks.
Because they don't.
And then he even mentions it multiple times. Like if so and so can do it, it's not hard. Anyway, that pisses me off. And then
when they finally do a time travel episode, it's like the best one though.
Yeah, it's great.
The Terminator.
Yes.
Rick and Morty episode is fantastic.
Yes. It is. It is one of the best ones. It was their Christmas one too, if I remember right. Anyway, or when they store magical powers in, like, my magical power, I can store so much of my energy every day into an object. Screw that. Like that. If that isn't the biggest cop out of all time. I've had 5,000 people for 5,000 years store all their magical energy every day. I still have a little energy before I go to sleep. Let me stash it away in some magical trinket. And then one day I need magical powers. Suddenly I have a nuke. Like that irks me. They did it in Aragon, in the book Aragon. We're not going to get into the movie. In the book Aragon, they do that. He's like, we've been doing this forever. Well, why hasn't the bad guy been doing that forever?
Yeah.
Like those are the 2 things. So when she gave him
that's an interesting comment. I will say that's not what it was in the Wheel of Time.
Well, in the show, she says they channeled all their magical energies
to create the Ingreal is a little bit different. It's technicality, okay.
But that's what it was in the show. They stored all their energy into this. They stored all their leftover energy into this.
That's not what it is, though. It's not what it is. It's not what it is. It's
But that's what she
Angriel.
says
It's
it is in the
different. It's
book.
different. I know it wasn't
Not in the book,
explained
in the
well. I
movie.
just want to. I want to tell you what it is. Okay. No, I agree because it was not explained well what it was in the show. But technically, we're getting technical about it. Okay. What the device that she had.
Sponsored Tex-Mex.
the device that she uses is called an Angrial. And the way it's explained terribly in the show. It's not. It doesn't store power. It is a device that lets you access more of the power than you can do personally. It's like a battery. Well, no, it's like an access point. Okay, it's like it's like an access point. Okay, so like as a channeler. If you pull in too much of the source, you will burn out and die. Okay,
like they showed Marine.
But the Angrial is like an amplifier. It's not a battery. It just lets it works as if you were linked to like 50 other channelers, and you were using your power plus all of their power. So it's not technically a battery. There's no power stored in it. She just said it took like 1,000 channelers to create it so that you can have the power of 1,000 channelers, which is a little stupid, but that's not exactly how it's done in the books. But I just wanted to get all technical and say that's not the case. But did you like Mistborn? Because the ferrochemy is that it's storing powers into metal mines.
I read Mistborn.
It's done really, really well in Mistborn.
I was going to bring that up.
So
I
hope you eat those words. But I agree, it is a trope that is done too much.
But then again, it's not several people pouring their energy into that. If I remember correctly, the person that stores it is the only person that can access it.
And if you store health in a health bracelet, you will be sick the entire time you're doing it, which is cool. Right. It's a consequence. Yeah.
It's a good balance.
So Star Wars.
Hey, yeah, just real quick, Alan, I don't know if you can change the title on your VOD after this live stream and put timestamps in the description. I'm sure a lot of your Wheel of Time fans will love that discussion that we just had.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to timestamp this.
You can do
that. Or I might even clip it and. Yeah, I guess let's talk about Star Wars now, guys.
Yeah, goodness, it's almost been 2 hours. We haven't even touched Boba Fett.
Okay, Corbin, you haven't been with us for 2 shows. And I am dying to hear what you have to say about the last 2 episodes of the Book of the Mandalorian.
Book of the Mandalorian?
Yeah, so like, I was like, okay, first off, like episode 5, I was like, okay, this is not the Book of Boba Fett. This is a setup for the Mandalorian. And I assumed we were going to get back to Boba Fett for the next episode. But the fact that it's 2 episodes in a row is just like what are you doing? Like this is not the Book of Boba Fett.
Remember when I asked last episode, I said, are we going to see Grogu? We all said, no, we're not going to see Grogu. They're going to save it.
I said it depends. Remember?
I'm pretty sure
said
you said
it depends on how much time has passed since the finale of Mandalorian season 2. And that is my biggest complaint about this episode in particular is that the answer to that question is 0. 0 time has passed. So why is he already anxious to visit Grogu? It's been like a month, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go see how he's doing." It's been less than a month because Luke hasn't even built shelter yet. It's been like a couple weeks. He gave him away, and it really takes away from the finale of Mandalorian season 2, where they had to choose and they had to give a heartfelt goodbye.
Yep, I agree with that.
The whole point of that was, hey, I'm not going to be able to see you for a really long time but we have to do it or you're going to get murdered. Okay? I have to give you up so that you can go train. and it was sad, and it was very effective, and this episode undoes all of it.
Well, technically, they didn't see each other again because they kept him from seeing him.
Actually, yes, you're right. Technically, they didn't see each other, but we saw it. Okay, we weren't supposed. I was really. I mean, okay, it was cool seeing Grogu train with Luke. Okay, that was great, but it did not belong in this show. Okay, I know. I was really mad. I was really mad that they showed that. You know, we wasted a whole episode.
2 episodes.
2 episodes, right?
2 episodes without Boba Fett. He was in this episode for 5 seconds.
Yeah, it was really bad. But thinking about it too, like, why would they do that? Why would they?
It makes no sense. Just put that in Mandalorian season 2. It could be a flashback. They could talk about it in the show and be like, "Hey, I just did this thing," and then you get to, and that could be like, "Oh, I'm looking forward to see how that went when I get to watch Mandalorian season 3." How did that happen?
That's how I thought about it initially, and then I got thinking, why would they specifically in this episode show that before in the penultimate episode of the series? Why would they do that? And the only reason I could think of...
Grogu showing up in the finale?
Grogu showing up in the finale. Luke Skywalker is going to come back to drop Grogu off because he makes that choice. And they're going to have some epic showdown. And Cad Bane is going to come and wreck some fools. And they're going to be losing. And then Luke Skywalker is going to show up again, just like he did in the Mandalorian episode, season finale, and he's going to save their butts again because he's dropping off Grogu. That's the only reason why they would put that in this show right now.
That would be terrible. But I agree with you. But that's what, I can see that happen.
Otherwise, just save it up. I mean, I get it. Grogu's cute. He's a money-making machine, right? You gotta get that merch. But
even my 2-year-old knows who Baby Yoda is.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't watch The Mandalorian with her.
There's no other reason why you would have him narratively at this point of the show unless Luke Skywalker shows up at the very end yet again. And it's just I hate it.
You want to know something hilarious and depressing at the same time? So I haven't been watching these episodes with Elliot, my 6-year-old son. Normally, just because by the time I get to it, it's like 10 o'clock at night. But this last episode 6, I watched with him because he was sick and I stayed home and from school. And so we had fun and we watched the Book of Boba Fett episode 6 together.
What did he say?
He said, because he's watched The Mandalorian with me. We watched that together, right? That was a fun father-son thing to do the first 2 seasons. And I just haven't had the desire to do that with this show because it's not good. We started watching episode 6 and he goes, "Dad, why I'm reading this because I wrote it down. It was so cute. Dad, why are they showing The Mandalorian even though this show's not about Mandalorians? This is a Boba Fett."
Yep.
And then he said, "Were they both alive at the same time?"
Yeah.
And then at the end of the episode, he said, "We didn't even see a single thing of Boba Fett."
Out of the mouth of babes.
Yep.
I didn't know what to say to him. I'm just like, yeah, that's the problem. Like a 6-year-old kid can figure out what's wrong with this show. What on earth are they paying the people writing this show? Why do they have jobs?
My theory is this. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau only got a certain number of episodes and a certain amount of money for The Mandalorian season 3. We need 2 more episodes to tell this story.
They only got 8 episodes instead of 10. And their narrative just isn't going to work with 8 episodes. They won't have time to develop the main characters, and they want to develop Ahsoka. Sorry.
So they were like, "Hey, You want to make some extra money? let us do this on Boba Fett. He's already a beloved character.
They say history never repeats itself, but it rhymes.
We've got the Tatooine set already. We've got the costumes. We got a story. We can bring in Robert Rodriguez. It'll be fun. We could do a little speeder bike chase
with the Power Rangers. The Power Rangers.
Yeah, they just snuck in 2 Mandalorian episodes.
David,
they could set things up without wasting.
Here's the other thing that irked me is the whole scene with Mando. The whole scene with the Mando and
Ahsoka.
Yes, that. But the Forge lady, you know what I'm talking about?
Episode 5.
Yeah. The Forge lady, when she's like, have you taken off your helmet? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, you're no longer Mandalorian. Which he's got the Darksaber. He's
the leader of the Mandalorians.
If you know anything about Mandalorians,
he could just be like
Mandalore. And you will learn this in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
No, I know.
He is Mandalore.
I know. I really wanted in that scene to be like, no, you.
Right. I wanted him. Yeah. I wanted him.
You're not a Mandalorian because I'm the king.
Yes, I wanted him to whip out the Darksaber and basically be like, no, I am Mandalore.
No, he has to go renew his vows. He has to go renew his vows in the lava waters of Mandalore.
Which if you know anything, again, which you'll learn in when you play Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, Mandalore's destroyed. They destroyed it.
Well, they showed it happening in episode 5, which was the best part of episode 5. It was like a couple 2-minute sequence of silence and just like strafing, carpet bombing Mandalore. Yeah, it was beautiful.
So it anyway, yeah, the episode 5. I mean, again, the book of Mando. It was a great Mandalorian episode, Tanner. You're 100% right. That's exactly what they did.
What I would have liked though is to do the show stinger, the Mandalorian, and just cross out the end of it, and it's the man.
Man,
you're not a Mandalorian anymore. Ba-dum.
That scene bugged me so much.
The man,
as a Star Wars fan. It bugged me so much as a Star Wars fan, just knowing how that culture works. He is Mandalore. If people don't understand, so those of you who don't know Star Wars, the owner of the Darksaber, there's only been one lightsaber created by a Mandalorian, and it used to be a set of armor. Mandalore used to wear a specific set of armor. He never took it off. That's where they get the whole don't remove your helmet thing, because they're following the example of Mandalore, blah, blah, blah. That armor gets destroyed thousands of years. Anyway, a Mandalorian creates a lightsaber, and it turns into the Darksaber. And it's not a normal lightsaber. It looks like the Darksaber. And the Mandalorian culture, the Mandalorian people say whoever holds the Darksaber is our new leader, is Mandalore. Yep. He is holding the Darksaber. He is Mandalore.
Yeah.
If she wanted to tell him you are not Mandalorian, she had to challenge him in battle. That is how the culture has been built. And again, this just shows a blatant unknowledge. And I'm not saying the episode was bad, but this just shows a blatant lack of knowledge of Star Wars lore / canon that was approved by George Lucas that goes back 20, 30 years at this point. And anyone knows if she says you are no longer Mandalorian because my ways are better, she has to challenge Mandalorian to a duel. And they fight, and whoever wins is the new Mandalore. And that's what they should have done instead of him going, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I took off my helmet. No, Rich, please.
You're right. That
Mandalore.
That would have been a lot better if he answered, yeah, he took off his helmet, and then Jon Favreau, the other
Mandalorian,
Gar Vizsla, whatever his name is,
the one who challenges him to a duel.
Yeah, if he's the one that says, he took off his helmet, he's not a Mandalorian anymore, and then she comes back and says, but he holds the
Darksaber.
Din Djarin holds the Darksaber.
It should have been him that brought it up.
Yeah, that would have been a lot better, Corin. You're right.
And she, even if he didn't know it, even if Djarin didn't know it, she should, because she's supposedly their lore keeper. So she should know how it works. She should know the Darksaber was lost. It's been recovered because the armor of Mandalore had been lost, and it was later recovered in Episode 2 or Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, again getting into video game stuff, but it was recovered by Canderous, and he became Mandalore because he found the armor that had been lost. And this has happened multiple times in Mandalorian society. She should know this. She's their lore keeper. She is the shaman. She is the wisdom. She's whatever you want to call it. And you're not a Mandalorian.
I'm curious. We talked about this last week, but I want to know what you think of. In episode 5, they bring to attention the other Mandalorian says, "Oh, there are only 3 of us left, and everyone else died." And then in that same episode, he says, "Hey, let's have a duel to the death," and they take off their jetpacks. And I'm just like, "There's only 3 of you left." Stop! No, you just said that was a big problem.
Again, it's not uncommon for Mandalorians because people think Mandalorians are a race, and originally they were.
I have no problem with like a contest. Like, hey,
right.
I want the Darksaber. Let's fight, and whoever wins gets it. But they take their jetpacks off, signifying this is a duel to the death. And the lady has to stop him from killing him. And I said last week, the only reason they did that is so they could have a false sense of drama.
Right.
So they knew full well that they weren't going to go through with it and have anyone die, but they wanted the audience to feel scared, knowing full well that the blacksmith lady was going to come in at the end and say, "No, don't actually kill," because there are only 3 of us left. And I just remembered that.
And they also already said it didn't have to be to the death because they asked him if he fought Moff Gideon. He's like, "No, I beat him in combat."
They take off their jetpacks in.
Yeah, I thought that was really bit ridiculous.
And again, when she says, there's only 3 of us left,
he says it. It's the guy who challenges him to a duel.
Right, the guy who challenges Mando to the duel. When they say there's only 3 of them left, it gives you this concept, this idea of that Mandalorians are a race. Originally, they were.
They're not.
They came from Mandalore. They did. Originally, they were.
But they're not anymore
because they challenged the galaxy. They challenged the galaxy in the Old Republic time era multiple times and practically won multiple times, outnumbered 10-1. They were they're the Spartans of Star Wars. But eventually, because of that, they got beat down to the point where it became an ideal. It became a concept. You are a Mandalorian. It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter who you are. It's the ideals that make you Mandalorian.
Yeah, well, they brought that up in seasons 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian. Like, it's
correct.
It was a race, but most of the main characters, like Boba Fett's not, but he's still a Mandalorian kind of, like this.
Yeah, they saved him. Hold on, I've got someone coming up on me. You might just want to mute me for a second.
All right, I'll bring it back.
Yeah. So I did like all the stuff they did with the Marshal this episode. The Marshal, I thought he was more bad A than Boba Fett for sure. I mean, roll a dice. Anybody in the show is more badass than Boba Fett has been. Yeah, but I really like the stuff they did with the Marshal. And then again towards the end there with Cad Bane showing up. I don't think
you thought that was dead. Good. You thought Cad Bane was good in the show.
I did. I thought, but I agree with your criticisms. I don't think he looked. I didn't like the look, but I just chalk that up to artistic interpretation in the animated series.
I chalk that up to crappy interpretation.
Well,
I liked him. Like, I hadn't watched Clone Wars at all, and I thought him showing up. I thought it was a cool moment, and I thought
he's my favorite character from the anime series.
And when his hat tilted up and just the pure red eyes, I was like, "Oh dang, that's cool."
I get that he doesn't look.
Right after that episode, I went and I watched 1 or 2 episodes of the Clone Wars with him in it. And he's a cool character, and
he's really awesome.
I didn't have the time to get used to how he's presented in the Clone Wars series, so when I saw him here, I was like, "Oh yeah, this guy's cool." I liked the character design.
I thought he looked really, really stupid in live action. I love him in the Clone Wars, and in this he looks terrible. And I'm gonna share my screen really quick. This is what a nobody,
the rework, yeah,
whipped up in 24 hours. This is the original. This is what he did in a split second. Which one looks better? First, it's the nose. The nose is the biggest problem for me.
Yeah,
it makes him look like an idiot.
Makes him look like Gonzo from the Muppets.
But look at the difference. I don't mind the change in skin color because he's older, right? And he did another version where he kept the same tone. But look at the shape of his face. It's so much better. Just look at that.
I agree, it is better, but
This is a nobody with zero resources, just some person messing around on their computer. 24 hours better than Disney and millions of bucks.
Well, that's kind of par for the course for these Disney shows. I mean, look
at that. That is so much better.
I agree. It is
also
better.
He fixed his hat. He made the brim wider. And it's better.
Yeah, he did, huh?
It's more accurate.
He did have a white hat. I'm
going to link this video in the description because Cinematic Captures did a phenomenal job with this.
I agree. It does look a lot better.
He looks stupid. Look at his face.
No.
He looks like Gonzo.
No.
I agree. Right. The adjusted one looks better, but I don't hate the original too. There's a lot of changes in the animated series.
I absolutely hate it. But go on.
There's a lot of changes from the animated series from how they look in the movies. I mean, you want to talk about Ahsoka in Rebels? She had longer Leku, right? The lightsabers in Rebels were also pencil thin. I hated those.
David, I don't care that it has been changed. I care that it looks stupid.
I don't think it looks stupid. I think it doesn't look as good as I imagined it, and I agree this looks better, but I don't hate how they did it either. Count Dooku too. Count Dooku was completely different in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, okay.
He doesn't look a thing like he does. Like Christopher Lee does in the.
I don't care that it was changed. That's not
Christopher Lee is such a hardcore BA guy. I love Christopher Lee. I am so sad that. Oh, anyway, moving on.
Alan, I think this is a matter of you being your very opinionated self.
It pulled me out. I started laughing.
With that one, Tanner.
I started laughing in the show. I was not intimidated at all. I was like, "What is this joke?" Like,
well, you're 3 versus 1 on this. That I mean, maybe we agree that the other one.
No, it's 2v2.
But like, I had barely a knowledge of Cad Bane with this episode, and I was like, "Oh dang!" And it was the scenes with the Marshal and the scene with him that really pushed me over the edge to wanting to buy Red Dead Redemption 2 and do some cowboy stuff.
They were the best scenes. They were the only scenes that had anything to do with the Book of Boba Fett. That's for sure.
Red Dead Redemption 2. Ugh. I'm going to be on the minority on that one. I did not like Red Dead 2.
Those are fighting words. Everyone loves that game.
Oh my gosh,
that is a hot take.
It was so.
I haven't
Red
played
Dead
it yet.
2 was so flippant boring.
Okay,
I've got to shower. I've got to shine my horse. Oh look, my horse has balls. Oh look, I've got to feed my horse. Oh look, I'm trying to get it, but I stink too bad because I rode from camp to town, and now I got to take a shower, and now I've got some cantina shower girl asking if she wants to come in and rub me off. No, I hated Red Dead 2. Was the worst. I wish you guys could see my face right now. I'm doing something official. I've stopped the official stuff, but I still can't show my computer. Red Dead 2 was a nightmare. If I could cuss on this show, I bought Red Dead 2 when I was.
I would just like to say
was like, you need to get
views and opinions expressed on this show do not.
I'm gonna have to pull over just so you can see my face.
the views and opinions on the show do not explicitly express the opinions of Technically Mexican, but we do let people speak freely. I haven't played the game yet. I have no opinion on either one or two.
I've got to pull over. I'm pulling over and stopping my official. So you guys, we're doing this because no.
Well, Corwin, while you're pulling over, let me say my take on it. Like,
okay, all right,
hold on. I'm not, this isn't my show anymore, and this is derailed massively.
No, it's not your show anymore at this point. Okay, go on. Do your take. Your take. Yep.
So
the guy dying can wait. That's not true. I don't have a call like that. It's not true. Go on.
So Boba Fett got me in the Western mood, and like, no, I'm 100% with you. It is a slow game. Like, I've played it all weekend, and I haven't even done all the tutorial stuff. And you do have to travel to and from. I am enjoying the immersion, though. I do like the tone of it and the way that it makes me feel. But I'm there with, like, we'll see if I start to get bored of it. But like,
the tutorial is it's like close to 7 hours long.
Yeah.
The tutorial is 7 hours long. I played this thing because I like instead of watching TV shows, I like to play video games. It's just what I do in my spare time. My wife watches TV shows. I watch TV shows for this show and some stuff. Freaking Alan's eating a cookie because he knows I'm going to get ready to get on my soapbox. I cannot stand Red Dead Redemption 2. Again, like I said, you walk into the bar. I rode from main camp to the nearest town, and I go to do it, and you stink too bad. Oh my gosh, go take a bath. Go take a bath. You go to the cantina, you pay the nickel to get the hot water, and then suddenly you get this knock on your door, and some lady's like, "Do you want me to come in and rub you off?" Like, no. Like, I know it's an end game. I don't need a lady kid. Why do I have to press square to soap up? Why can't I just be like, okay, I've got to go shower or I've got to go take a bath. Let me just walk up and be like, take a bath. And then the screen goes black and I come back and I'm good. But no, instead I've got to walk up to the bathroom, a bathtub, press X, take off my clothes, get in the bathtub. And then I get out there. Oh, yeah, that's right. My horse is dirty. So I've got to, because it stinks. And oh, there's my horse's dong hanging out the bottom. So then what do I have to do? I've got to brush my horse. And then what happens after you brush the horse? You stink again. The game, it had good, and I understand it's got some great RPG. I understand. I've watched YouTube on some of the crazy story parts of it because I understand it's got some fantastic story elements to it and it's got great characters, and I get that. The gameplay is so rough. The action of it. I liked Red Dead 1. I thought Red Dead Redemption 1 was great. Red Dead 2, they changed too much. The action is it is molasses going up a fence post in the middle of a blizzard slow. And it's a cowboy shooter. And then suddenly you're just like, oh, I have my special ability. Bam, 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 bam. And 9 people have died. Why did it take me 20 minutes to get that, to kill the 9 people? No. That is one of the few games I have bought full price. I have bought 2 games at full price.
Mistake.
100%. I broke I will not pre-order a game for Cyberpunk 2077 and Red Dead 2. If I could choose one of those 2 games to refund, it would be Red Dead 2. In fact, I asked for a refund on Red Dead 2, but I had played it too much because I couldn't get to the flipping tutorial, and it took me so long that I went over the time limit to get the dang refund for Red Dead 2, and so I couldn't get it. So I was like, I might as well play an extra 3 or 4 hours. Like, you might as just like, I'm done with it. Like, that game, I bought it. I played it for about 12 hours straight. No other game between. I will never pick up that piece of crap ever again. And I understand there's good parts of it. And all the people in the academy are like, Bowles, you're just too critical. No, I just don't have 45 minutes to brush my horse, to go to the town, to take a shower, to catch the bad guy, to get back to the town. My time is precious. I'm a dad. I have a career job. I don't have time to sit down and play games on an average daily basis for 5, 6, 7 hours a day in order to really get into Red Dead 2. I've got 45 minutes. And when that 45 minutes is taken up by cleaning I got to tone it down. By cleaning my horse, I can't Damn it.
I'm definitely I'm single and 28, and I teach high school. So like I have weekends off.
And that requires no work at all. Good.
Yeah,
No.
it's no.
You're never overtime as a teacher, huh?
No, and so
teachers get the whole summer off. What are you talking about?
Right?
And I also only paid $25 for it. That's another thing. I got it on sale. So
sometimes I like saying things that trigger Tanner as a teacher.
I am holding my tongue because I don't.
Half of my it's crazy. Half of my friends are teachers, so I know the right things to say to get you.
And I know if I engage, I'll just be playing right into your hand. And this is not the medium in which change is going to be made.
I was even briefly a teacher. I forget that I had that job. I taught computers for a school.
Oh.
Anyway, that's my rant on Red Dead. I know that's completely off topic and completely what we're going, but I can't.
It's not the first time.
That game, and it's funny you bring up because I just ranted about that game to a buddy of mine. I can't stand Red Dead. Red Dead Redemption 2. I can't. It is.
I was thinking about buying it.
No, Alan, I know you. It will piss you off just as much as it makes me, if not more. And you're a stickler about how much games cost.
I know.
It's
on sale right now. I was just thinking about buying it.
Buy it. Waste your money, and then when you're crying to me here next time we're playing League of Legends together, I will not listen to you. I will mute your butt faster than R2-D2 slings out lightsabers to Luke. No.
Way to bring it back to Star Wars with that.
Right? Did you like
analogy.
that skin?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
That's some good weave in there.
You heard it here, folks. Red Dead Redemption 2 sucks.
It does. It's good.
I like it.
I
don't have anything else more to say about Star Wars. I liked Cad Bane, and I think you're just being stubborn in your opinion.
Going back to what you're saying, though, Alan,
I hated him.
Orin,
you're on my side here, right? He looked stupid. Oh no!
Does the other one look better? Does the other one look better? Yes. Now that you bring it up, was it a little? Could you laugh at his appearance?
I laughed out loud. I was so.
I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think it was great. I didn't think it was that bad.
Okay.
I mean, now that I look at it with a still and he's not talking, and I'm not like, oh wow, Bane shut up. That's cool, right?
It's worse when he's moving.
Now that I see his Gonzo puppet nose, like sure, I could see that, but I didn't notice it at first. I didn't think it was that bad. It could have been done better, like that guy did. Again, it just shows you that some of the people at Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy, need to be fired immediately, and hire me. I guarantee you, I will do it for a quarter of the cost and make more money than I'm doing now.
I'll do it for an
eighth
of the cost.
More than what I'm doing now, and I love my job.
I'll do it for a penny.
I will make Disney millions, tens, hundreds of millions of dollars.
I will do it for pennies. I will do it for pennies on the dollar of what they're paying Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh, absolutely. I'll do it for a tenth of what some of these people are getting paid millions and millions. I'll tell you what. I'll do it for $100K. We're good.
That's a lot.
I
go lower. I'd do it for $30K.
So, but I do like the point you bring up, though, that the other YouTuber reworked it in a couple hours, and I do agree that it does look better. And that's similar to what they did with Luke in Mando Season 2 at the end. The CGI face replacement wasn't that great for him. And there was another YouTuber that reworked the deep fake.
They did the deep fake thing. Yes.
And it was so good that they hired that YouTuber. And I think it's still not perfect, but I thought Luke in this episode looked so much better than he did in Mandalorian. It's not perfect. I agree. You're a stickler, but it looked really, really good.
Just recast him.
No, no. I don't. I do not like the idea of casting Sebastian
just cast
Stan.
Sebastian Stan.
No. I liked it. I think it was fine here.
I hated Luke in this. I made a joke. I made a joke when they first show him. I was like, "Oh, they are." I was like, "Are they going to show Luke?" And then they show him, and the first it's like 10 minutes of him not talking. I was like, "Oh, well, that makes it easy." They're just going to have Luke not say any lines, so that they don't have to animate his mouth.
Back turned, yeah.
But see, yeah. I think they should have just keep Luke. We all know Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker. Everybody does, but he's too old to play this part. Everybody knows that. Fans know that. So if you just kind of get a look-alike, like what they did with Solo, you're going to have people that whine and complain, but your average fan, including me, a hardcore fan, is going to be like, it makes sense. They got someone who could portray Luke. That's not Mark Hamill, because Mark Hamill can't do it. And I don't know.
I get that.
Every time Luke opened his mouth in this episode, I hated it.
It still didn't look perfect, but it looks way better than it did in The Mandalorian.
Just get a whole new actor. Let's just get an actor that looks like Luke, or at least it's somewhat like the Han Solo movie.
Stan.
Yeah, just get an actor, and instead of wasting a ton of crap money on CGI stuff that isn't turning out that good anyway.
Yeah.
And it looks like Superman's edited mustache in Justice League. just for those of you who don't know who are watching this later on, Superman, Henry Cavill had a mustache.
What are you talking about?
He was shooting Mission Impossible when they had to do reshoots, and legally he wasn't allowed to shave it for Superman, so they had to give him his weird freaking crooked lip. Anyway.
Again, another scene that was fixed in post by a YouTuber.
Right, yet another scene that fixed. Screw the CGI. Pick another actor that's good, Sebastian Stan, and don't worry about it, because the fans. I'm not going to worry about it as long as he does a good job, because I know Mark Hamill can't play the role.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I think
that's my thoughts exactly.
I would be fine too if they ended up doing that decision. I would enjoy my Star Wars still. But I think they're a little bit apprehensive of going that way because of Alden Ehrenreich, taking up Han Solo in the Solo series, and there were a lot of complaints on that. And I thought he did a good job. I mean, he wasn't Harrison Ford, but he got the mannerisms right. I think
he did. He did. Solo is much better on a second viewing. The first viewing, I was like, it's hard to get over the fact that it's not Harrison Ford, but then I watched it a second time. I was like, this movie's actually okay.
Well, look at a prime example of this would be, to say what you want about the series, but Men in Black 3.
Oh,
yes.
Great.
That was really well done. That is underappreciated.
Yes.
It was perfect.
He played Tommy Lee Jones if Tommy Lee Jones was 40 years younger.
Yes.
And he did it. I'm amazed that guy didn't win any awards. His ability to act in his own way, but also in a way that you literally thought the dude was Tommy Lee Jones 30 years younger, was phenomenal. You could do the same thing with again, Luke Skywalker. I mean, the guy who played the Tommy Lee Jones in Men in Black 3 said that he studied the movies, watched all of Tommy Lee Jones's movies, learned how to talk, learned how to move, learned how to act like him, and he pulled it off. Right. You could do the same thing with Mark Hamill and Star Wars. And again, fans might be pissed, but in the long run, they're going to be like, it makes sense. Even if you came out and said, we're not going to do crappy CGI, Mark Hamill's too old, we've got to move on. I'm sorry it doesn't make some of you happy, but we have to do this if you want the movies to continue. And people would shut up about it.
Or just just don't write Luke into the script.
That too.
I'm down for recasting.
Josh Brolin in Men in Black.
Josh Brolin, that's who it was. Oh, yeah, genius.
Who played the young Agent K.
Yeah, it was so good. Men in Black 3 is criminally underrated. Yeah. It was so good. I like it just as much as the first film. It was so good.
It's better than 2.
Two exists.
Oh, two is awful. 2 is awful, and
I think
the
2's
4th
okay,
one
but-
is an abomination.
Yes.
But yeah, 3 was fantastic, and it just did
International,
not
right?
get enough buzz.
And
Yeah.
it was because of young K. It was because of that actor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and then
was-
they had
it was
that
very well
beautiful moment with Will Smith's character too, as a kid. And
Oh,
you're like,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah, they brought it full
it's
circle.
like
That was
just
that was amazing.
completely unnecessary, but like that was really good.
Yeah, and the villain was just such an amazingly iconic
Fly to the Concorde.
Yes, the
right?
Flight of Concorde. Was it Jeremy or was
Jermaine.
it Jermaine? Yeah.
Jermaine Clement.
Jermaine Clements. He was a fantastic villain that just it fit right in with the Men in Black look and mythology and whatnot. Anyways, we got off on another tangent.
Yeah, this episode should be called the episode where they have the most tangents.
But see, that's the sad part because that's the sad part.
I don't want to
we
talk
should be
about
talking
Boba Fett.
Yeah, we should be talking about Boba Fett, the Book of Mando. We should be talking about, but we're not. We're not, and that's
Okay.
that says a lot. That speaks a lot.
I think they should have let Henry Cavill keep his mustache and just have Superman.
I would be
That would be
fine
cool.
with a
That would be
mustache
cool.
Superman.
He looks so good with a mustache.
Henry Cavill
There's
is
comic books where they show him shaving with his laser sight. He has to burn his hairs off with a mirror with his own laser sight to shave because razors won't. Anyways, another tangent.
Okay. David, I want to put you in the hot seat. I want to
Okay.
put you on. I want to put you on blast and make you defend your words. This episode,
Which
episode
words?
6, was directed by none other than Dave Filoni.
Was it?
Yes, and we've talked about this in the past, and we disagree. I think that Dave Filoni has done good things. I think it's been a while. And he frequently taunts that I was trained by George Lucas. That means I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And it has over time gradually turned into Cameoville.
Yes.
And
this
and
episode was.
I think it's been a
cameos.
very, very long time since Dave Filoni has done good work.
What else?
And-
What else
well,
has he done? I'm not
The
familiar.
Clone Wars and Rebels and
Oh, okay. All right.
Assassin's Creed. I don't know where that came from.
Assassin's Creed. Let's not tangents.
Let's talk about Assassin's
No more
Creed.
tangents. No more tangents.
No more tangents. Let's
No, but-
go.
No, I'm saying that I think he's kind of washed up, and
Yes.
all he knows how to do now is just, hey, I just want to cameos, and I don't think he's good at Star Wars. This episode is a testament to that.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me what function Ahsoka served at all?
Exactly. Yeah. I wrote that down too. I think every piece of conversation that
The
he
reason
has with
she's in
Ahsoka-
it, the reason she's in this episode is because Dave Filoni likes Ahsoka and wanted to put her in.
Yep, that's his baby. Yeah, I agree. I think
What did she add?
nothing. Absolutely nothing. I was annoyed that she was here. This was the episode of cameos. I wrote down all the cameos right here. You want to hear
Sounds
my
like-
list of cameos?
Hold on. It's for a second there. It sounded
No,
like
I agree.
You agree with me?
I agree. I like Dave Filoni. I think he knows his Star Wars, but I think his greatest crutch by far is he loves his cameos, and he just has to throw it in everywhere.
So what you're saying is
Yes, you are correct. Do you want to hear my list of cameos that I wrote down?
Sorry.
Because you're right.
No. My audio cut out for a second.
No.
What was that?
You heard what I said. You heard what I said. I'm not saying it
What was that
again.
last part you said? I didn't quite catch.
So the list of cameos that he's got, right? Of course, Mando, right? He was the star of the show, but essentially it's the Boba Fett show. He's got a cameo. We got R2D2. We got Ahsoka. We got Grogu. We got Luke. We got the Marshal. We got Cad Bane. We got Jawas. We got the Crate Dragon Skull. And if you caught it, there was one scene where Boba Fett.
Did Boba Fett have a cameo
in the
this
show.
episode?
He did.
Boba
There
Fett,
was a couple episodes.
he was in his own show.
He was in the scene where they were talking about the Spice Guilds.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Was he hired
No, it
by
was-
House Harkonnen to go and kill House Atreides?
Yeah. Yeah, but no, you're right.
You're right.
Ahsoka-
There was a Boba Fett cameo this episode.
Ahsoka had no reason for being there whatsoever.
Like narratively, it didn't do anything. Nothing. Why was she?
Absolutely nothing. It was dumb. It was member berries. I thought,
and then she has a scene with Luke afterwards, and you're like, okay, it's finally going to explain why she's here. And all she says
she's
is,
just like,
"Hey,
peace,
I'm going to leave."
It's like, why were you in the first place?
Exactly. Why was she there?
Yep.
And then there was that weird, like, am I going to see you again? Like, I don't know. Are we going to bang? Maybe.
Yeah.
I had a weird relationship with your father, but I was kind of young, so I'm digging this. I'm older now.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Out of all the cameos, I think Ahsoka was the most unnecessary.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the other reason they included her in this episode is she's getting a spin-off show, right?
Yeah, no, yeah,
but they didn't set 100%. Anything up.
Right.
Also, her presence in this episode makes her cameo in Mandalorian Season 2 even worse.
Right.
Which I have issues with. She wasn't wanting to help. She could have at least, like, just brought him to Luke. It makes it retroactively makes her character worse.
Yeah, I agree.
Man, we're real Star Wars fans on here, aren't we? With how
we're Star Wars fans as we should be Star Wars.
Yeah, critical. But there's another thing I laughed at too. There's several things I laughed at this episode. I liked that when we meet R2, right? Mando asks him where Luke is, and he shuts off. I'm like, do you have a habit of just shutting down, powering down when people are looking for Luke or something? Because that was the whole of episode 7. Everyone's looking for Luke. R2 has the answer, but he's just shut himself off.
I don't know. Maybe his battery's going bad. Robots don't have batteries, though, right? Do they? Do they have to charge? Do they have to plug in and charge?
That's never really established.
It's never established. How
Star Wars canon?
Do robots
in a new Hope?
They all have arc welders, right? So there's. What'd you say?
In A New Hope, you do. I think the most droid maintenance is in A New Hope because C-3PO takes an oil bath.
It's the oil bath, yeah.
And when Luke is talking to Obi-Wan, C-3PO says, "I'll shut down now, sir." And he's like, "Okay, yeah." And then
right.
So I think.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he shut himself down.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing too I laughed at is when Luke and Grogu are walking and he uses the Force to pick him up. Do you remember when we were kids? 1, 2, 3,
oh, yeah.
we?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, we. Yeah.
Yeah. That was 1, 2, 3, we.
You have mom and dad on each arm, and you go 1, 2, and you fall back. You go 1, 2, 3, we, and then you do a big jump.
Yeah, and then they're holding both of your hands, and they swing you along at the count of 3. That's exactly what that was.
That's exactly the thought that I had. Yeah,
I did love just those casual. Luke is like, "So Grogu, I need to teach you about the Force."
Yeah, I liked that scene. I just don't know what it was doing in the show.
Little motion.
Yeah. Exactly. Like I liked all the stuff seeing Grogu train. That was really cool to see. And like I said, I liked Luke there. I thought the CGI looked a lot better. But what is this doing in the scene? I wrote down like, how long is this training sequence going to take? We kept going and going, and then it revisited it at the end.
I didn't like the frog scene.
Yeah.
It was funny when Grogu did it, and then Luke lifted up a bunch of frogs and then put them back down. I was like.
Yeah, it was supposed to be reminiscent of
I don't get it.
Yoda lifting up the X-wing, but it's a couple of frogs.
But what did it serve? It didn't serve anything narratively. And what was he trying to prove? I can pick up more frogs than you. Like, I don't know what that was for.
Trying to show him how powerful the Force can be. Or something.
I think the implication was, I can do more when I am meditating and at one with the Force than hyper.
Okay, yeah, that would have been great if he said that.
Okay, just a second. We were talking about nonverbal visual storytelling and how good that is.
And it wasn't done well here. It was unclear. It was unclear what the point was.
Yeah, I agree.
You said, I think that's what the point was. When we talked about it, we talked about it in Vox Machina, we knew what the point was because everyone knew it.
That's how I think. Is it just me where I like having open interpretation and being able to put my own reading into it?
It just felt out of place. We did get an Order 69 flashback, though. with Grogu. So was Grogu like frozen cryogenically or something? Because he's like 1,000. So he was present during the Order 66, and then he was kept in that little pod. I kind of assumed that he was like in stasis because he's still a little kid.
He would have had to have been. I mean, he would have had to have been. Yoda was 1,000 years old when he died. There's been other ones like him.
Because in Mandalorian season 1, they were like he's like 1,000 years old.
No, he said he's 50 years old.
50 years old, but he's still a little kid. So is it just that that species matures really slowly?
Yes,
which is very impractical. Or was he like in stasis this whole time?
Well, we don't know a ton about the Yoda species. We never really have.
But like to be 50 years old and still be a child and like that incapable, that is so impractical.
Well,
like
we know that Yoda took his first apprentice at the year 300. So he can't. I mean, I don't think they. I think you were right. I think they need to explain that and why he's still a child.
I think the explanation is he was in stasis for.
Yes, I think that. I think that is
because it wouldn't make sense any like with dwarves. Yeah, you live that long, right? They have an extended lifetime, but you are still at the age of 50. Like you are functional. You're not a baby who needs to be bottle fed. That right. Just it doesn't make any sense. It is completely impractical.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense if he was
that kind of species. That kind of species would not survive evolution if you were a baby for 50 years, and we don't even know how long he's going to be a baby. Right? He's still he's a toddler, right?
Yeah, I think it's explained in this episode. Luke says it's not so much that I'm training him so much as I am reminding him
he's remembering of his training. Yes,
I think it's he's suppressing things because of post-traumatic stress. Of he survived almost getting killed, seeing all the people he loved getting killed, and now Luke is helping him remember the Jedi training. Oh, more in amnesia than anything else.
But for 50 years.
We
don't know how. I mean, so I don't think
we do know how much time has passed since Order 66 and this episode, though. That's a long time.
How much time was it?
Okay. How old is Vader in the new series? Okay, I don't know exactly, but
explain canonically?
I could look it up. I could look up a wiki and find the number for you. It's a long time.
Luke is like what, in his 30s? In Return of the Jedi? Late 20s?
It makes Anakin about 40, 45, I would say. Because it's
been at least 30 years. That's a long time.
Yeah, so from the time
that's a long time to have not processed.
Anakin destroys and becomes Darth Vader in Episode 3 to the end of Episode
because Luke is born. So Luke is the
6.
age.
Right. Luke is like 18 or 20 when the whole Episode 4 happens. So that would make Anakin Darth Vader roughly 45, 50 years old.
And I think the trilogy takes like 5 years, the original trilogy. Because there's a bit of a gap between episodes 2 and episodes.
Man, I'm a nerd. I don't know this. Give me a second.
There's a bit of a gap between episodes 5 and 6 because he becomes a Jedi in between that. I think it's like 5 years the original trilogy. 4 and 5 are pretty close together, and then there's a pretty big gap between 5 and 6, where Han is in carbonite.
And
then we know it's been 5 years after that.
Since, yeah.
So it's been like 40 or 50 years. At least 40. Let's go with 40.
So if we estimate 40, and in Mandalorian Episode 1, we're told that Grogu is 50 years old, then that is 10. Yeah.
So he was like 10 years old. He started training and then got some PTSD and hasn't processed it. Hasn't done anything about it for 30 years.
Well, Luke had to use the Force to unlock that memory to help him remember it.
Okay, but that doesn't explain why he's still a child. I don't get it.
So it's either how that species ages or he was cryogenically frozen, like you said. That I think that would make sense.
I think it's more character driven. If I don't think he was frozen because his little pod is in a little.
So you could have like repressed memories for that long, but you would still develop.
Yeah, but we don't know
mature human.
We don't know exactly how his alien species develops. Like you said, it's very.
And I'm saying if it takes that long, it doesn't make sense.
He is childlike, and they refer to him as the child.
He can't even talk.
He can't speak English. Or common, or whatever.
Basic,
he doesn't speak anything.
Galactic basic. You're right. He doesn't speak any languages, and he can't really walk around. That much. He can waddle around.
Mm-hmm.
But here we see him, flipping and stuff using the Force and whatnot. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
But once in The Mandalorian, we see him. Messing with the controls in the ship and taking the little ball thing and choking out Cara Dune and like getting the frog lady's eggs. Like he's maybe immature, but he's not like a defenseless baby.
He's
like a toddler.
It's been 40 years. So it's 40 years from the time Anakin
Order 66.
So that makes him 50 years old. So he was 10 years old at the Academy, and actually looking it up, or at the Jedi Temple.
That's about the age of younglings.
Yeah, that's the age of younglings. And there's actually, I'm just looking it up. There's a few things that are saying Grogu is in Revenge of the Sith. We just missed it. He's in the back.
But here's the thing: if that's the age of regular younglings, that would imply that his species matures at the same rate. If he's 10, the younglings are 10, and he's training in the Jedi, he's training to be a Jedi. But it doesn't explain why he's still a baby. He had to have been frozen in stasis, or otherwise it just doesn't make sense.
That's the only way you could explain it, but yeah.
Or let me try this explanation.
Mm-hmm.
So someone drew a little tiny youngling version of Yoda, and an executive at Disney said, "Holy cow. We are going to
change."
That's my point.
And we can either be cynical, or we can spend 20 minutes trying to figure out the timeline to make it work, or we can just
I would rather spend 20 minutes trying to figure out the timeline.
That's the thing. Again, it just goes back to lazy writing. Because this would easily be fixed, and we're nerds, and of course, it's the whole concept.
You just need one line of dialogue to say what's
one line of dialogue. That's it. The pod that he was in was a stasis pod that he was able to
escape. To escape. That's how he escaped Order 66. Someone sent him, but he was frozen for 50 years.
Yep.
And when Mandalorian opened it, that's when he woke up. He's literally done nothing for 30 years.
Yeah, it was also frustrating. Luke gave him this little flashback to, find out, where he came from, and we just get this one snippet of Order 66. It's like, okay, he was initially asking about like your species and your people, like where you came from, and then you get this one snippet of Order 66, and we don't even get to see how he got out of it.
Yeah.
Oh shoot! Wait! Wasn't there a shot of a female of Yoda species in the prequels?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, he's Yoda's love child.
Ooh, yeah.
That was
the two of their species was hooking up, and so Yoda had to be like, "A youngling I found."
Okay. I have two exceptions now. I said I will accept another flashback if we get a love scene between Boba Fett and the Sand Person. I will also accept another flashback if we get a Yoda love scene.
Yoda Yaddle love scene.
Yeah. Okay, so but then from there though, like we do finally get a glimpse of Boba Fett, and it brings up more problems because Fenn's character,
Fennec
Shan is doing all the talking, and she's it's revealed they still don't have an army. Remember 5 episodes ago when she said, "Hey, I know how to get an army," and it turns out her solution was just one guy. The Mandalorian, and then she asks the Mandalorian, "Hey, do you know where to get an army?" And then the Mandalorian says, "I might know some people, and then he goes and talks to the Western guys and says, "Hey, do you guys know where to get an army?" And then they all get killed.
I don't think he's dead, but yeah.
I'm just saying Boba Fett is really bad at planning. They said they had a plan, and there's no plan. There's no army. There's no resources. I don't know what's going on.
Yep. Well,
they don't have any soldiers. Also, what is the spice? What is spice? What does it do? Why is it so important? And why do half the people in the show hate it for no apparent reason?
So if you don't have spice, your food is going to be really flavorless.
Bland. They don't want bland food. That's what this whole conflict's about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, I gotta go.
Bantha.
Okay. Also,
oh my gosh,
Freetown. Yeah, that's the name of the town. Because it's free. You couldn't think of a better name.
A little on the nose. But yeah, we've already established that Boba Fett overplays his hand when he says that he's already united all of the Tusken tribes. All right. Okay.
Tanner, really, you got to peace out. It's been a blast. I do. It's been a blast. Thanks for your spicy opinions.
No problem.
We encourage discussion and disagreement on the show, and it's okay to be wrong. So thanks for coming.
I'm doing you a favor by coming on. Guys, I'm starting a YouTube channel. Come on, I want you to be on it. Help me make some content so I can get mine and make it a blah 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 blah. And then you insult me.
No, I just really disagree on the Cad Bane thing. But that I think that's my biggest
3 versus 1, Alan. 3 versus 1.
Okay, I thought you were on my side for a second, Corwin. But
Cad Bane is super old by now,
right?
like really old.
It doesn't explain why the shape of his nose changed.
Yeah. Again, animated versus live action. I chalk it up to that. But
all right. Well, thanks for joining us, Tanner. We're almost done anyway.
Bye.
I think I have most of my notes. Yeah, because the rest of my notes are complaining about Cad Bane, but we already talked about that.
Also, I do want to point out, I predicted that our last show that this episode was going to be a training episode,
and it wasn't.
I was technically right.
It was.
No. Right. I was right. It just wasn't Boba Fett.
It just wasn't Boba Fett training.
It was Grogu training.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good joke. Oh no, I do have some more important notes. There was a brothel bomb.
That was cool. That was a cool scene.
But why?
Because they had sided with.
How did they know? No one knew that. And how did they side with them? They haven't done anything. They don't have influence. It's a brothel.
Yeah, but they're primarily the ones that are paying tribute to Boba Fett.
No, they paid tribute one time and it got stolen by the Jawas.
That we saw on screen.
Also, all the other people paid him tribute in that same episode. What I just don't understand what the brothel bomb served.
Yeah.
Or how they would even know that they were involved. And they're really not even that involved. They haven't really done anything to help Boba Fett except say, hey, the Fetts are here. They're going to be... Oh, wait, no, the Fetts weren't a threat at all. And then we go back to Grogu.
Yeah.
We spent 2 seconds with Boba Fett. And we go back to Grogu and we get... Luke is kind of a dick in this scene, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I don't understand why he's presenting a child with this kind of dilemma. Also, he has a line where he says, a short time for you is a lifetime for others. So if you choose training the Force, your friend will be dead you'll never get to see him. But it doesn't take that long to train Jedi. And also, Luke would age at the same rate.
I think you're talking about his lifespan.
He would die, and then Grogu could go see the Mandalorian.
Well, of course, it doesn't take any time to train Jedi. Rey just kind of like did everything.
Luke, yeah, exactly. And Luke,
instantly.
Even Luke learned within like 2 years of training, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you got to remember, Luke struggled in 2 years to pull a lightsaber to his hand, but Rey is just 6 months into it. She's like force lightning to a force lightning to a cruiser's face.
It was like a 24-hour crash course, man. That was one of those.
Whatever book
coding,
she's reading,
that was one of those coding boot camps.
Like, that needs to be
learn to code in 2 weeks.
Yep. Or refund on us. Yes. Yeah.
Some of those guys are actually. I do know a couple of people that run a coding boot camp, and they're awesome. But not all of them are good.
So
I'll just say that I'm a programmer.
Have you? So a little off topic, but not off topic.
Okay.
Did you start? I'm interested to know, Alan. I'm sure David as well. Did you start Knights of the Old Republic 1 yet?
We already talked about it.
You already talked about it?
No,
oh, man.
No. I already brought it up, and I'm like, Corin's going to be mad at me. I didn't start it because I went down the
modding rabbit hole?
The modding rabbit hole. You say, you get a bunch of mods. I haven't downloaded any of them. I spent 4 hours just looking through mods, and I was like, wait, I was supposed to play the game. I haven't started it.
And you
I haven't even picked a single mod.
You don't need to play any mods on the first one. The first one is fine as is.
I told Alan
the second one
just to get graphic, because they do have upgraded.
And I went through the forums of people debating which ones are better and I'm like, no, this one sucks. No, that one sucks. This one's better. And I'm just like, I don't know.
just go to Nexus and pick the top 10 or whatever.
I tried to, but it's disputed. Like there wasn't a clear winner of this is the good graphic update mod.
Those are just it's just graphical overhauls. That's fine. Just it doesn't change gameplay. Just throw one on there and do it. Play the game. Okay. It's good.
I know.
Yeah,
I know it's good. I've started it before.
To answer your question, Corin, I have played the first one all the way through. I don't think I ever finished the second one. Actually, I need to go back and play that one again. But I did get the cut, restored Sith Lord content or whatever on that, and started playing through it. But yeah, the first one was really good. I was kind of we talked about this on a previous episode too. I was upset that the twist was spoiled for me in a I think it was a Watch Mojo video or something. Yeah. Because I had a whole bunch of Star Wars games, and I played some of them. I hadn't played.
It wasn't just like, hey, spoiler warning. The first line they say is
the first line
in Knights of the Old Republic. You play as spoiler here, and you're like, that you don't find that out until later.
Yeah, it was really annoying. I watched the video because I'm like, I own a lot of these Star Wars games. I want to know which ones I should play next, and then I was like, it was probably going to be Knights of the Old Republic, and I watched that one and I'm like, dang it, what the heck? So
I just want to point out, David, your wife is slinging some zingers in the comments.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's why I started laughing right as Tanner was leaving.
We don't.
That's a good comment.
She's Mexican.
Whole bunch of white guys that served years in Mexico. There's spice. Venganza de Montezuma, that's for sure.
No, I like teasing David's wife because she doesn't speak Spanish and I do.
Yep. Yep.
I give her crap all the time.
Well,
I'm more Mexican than you are.
Just throw on a graphic mod, Alan. Just throw on a graphic mod. I think there is a couple quality of life ones. And then the other one I would suggest, or anyone else that's watching, I would just highly suggest maybe a mod that gives you a little bit more skill points per level, because that lets you unlock it lets you unlock multiple dialogue options and stuff that you wouldn't be able to do unless you'd played multiple times and stuff like that.
And the highlight of the game is the story, not really the gameplay.
Yeah. I mean, at the time, the gameplay was really good. I mean, we're looking at 2003, 2004. Yeah. At the time, the gameplay was really good. But it's turnstile Dungeons and Dragons type thing. I do this move, he does this move. I do this move, he does this move. So it is a little on the older side combat wise, but yeah, just throw in a graphical mod. You don't have to go down another 4-hour rabbit hole of mods.
Yeah.
That was my bad suggesting it. If you want to, just pick like the top one that's there. Don't look at the forums or the discuss. Just download it, throw it on.
I'll get to it.
Throw a couple quality of life mods on there, and just go enjoy it. It is a blast. And that game was the one that started the whole concept of your actions have consequences, because there were things that
was the birth of BioWare, right?
Yes, this was BioWare had done games prior, but
that was like when they found their niche.
Yes, this is when they really kicked off, and they had that phenomenal. Japanese game before, right? Like the samurai thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Yeah, they did this one, and then they didn't do number 2 because they were working on the first Mass Effect at the time. So they gave what they wanted number 2 to be like to Obsidian, and Obsidian did it justice and actually made it. I thought they made the gameplay and everything. They improved it. The story wasn't as good, but they improved everything about it. But yeah, just go through on a couple mods that'll get on the rabbit hole.
Jade Empire.
Yeah, Jade Empire was another one.
Yeah. Right.
That came out after Knights of the Old Republic, though.
Knights of the Republic came out after Knights of the Republic 2. Yeah.
Is that a similar? That looked kind of like a hack and slash to me.
It's definitely. I mean, it's a lot more fun combat wise,
right?
Because you can do different styles and jump around, and it's real time combat. It's not turn based, and so it is kind of like it's a kung fu game. It's a lot of fun, but the story of Jade Empire is really, really good.
Yeah,
BioWare was at prime when they were doing this stuff, and I am excited to hear you play Knights of the Old Republic 1 and get all the way through it, and then go to 2 and get your thoughts on it, because they are beautifully mastered games.
Yep, I will start it. I like you don't have a lot of time for video games though.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to invest in I have to remember the story, which is why I play so much League, because I can just sit down, not remember anything, and just, pop in a game and do a round and then be done.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not as much of a time investment, which is weird to say about League of Legends, but I've already invested the time into learning to play the game. And so now it's not a time investment. I just pop it on, play around, and I'm done. Don't think that I can just pick up League of Legends. That's not a time investment, because it is. I think those are all the notes. Other than I just felt like it was a really weird thing to force Grogu to choose. It felt like,
especially since he's basically rewriting the Jedi Order, right? He's not doing what Jedi said before.
It doesn't have to be a sucky order anymore, right?
Right. Yeah. But I don't know.
Luke doesn't know a whole lot about the Jedi Order. He knew 2 Jedi.
Exactly.
The first one died real quick, and then Yoda trained him for 2 years and then died too.
Yeah. Well, presumably he found those books that were burned in the tree, or that weren't burned in the tree in episode 8.
Right.
The sacred texts.
The sacred texts.
I hate the Jedi and they all need to go away, but the sacred texts. Oh no!
But Luke's whole thing was
we already wasted time on that.
Luke's whole thing was attachment. He
right.
gave up training with Yoda to go save his friends, and Yoda said, "Don't do it." And
which that was a mistake,
Luke turns his back on the Jedi.
You're right. He does realize that was a mistake, but it was also his attachment to his father that refused to kill him and to turn him from the dark side again.
I don't know.
So it was literally attachment that saved.
I get they're trying to come up with this dramatic moment, and it just feels completely unnecessary to me. Train him to be a Jedi.
I agree.
Why can't he have both? Give him cool armor and a lightsaber, please. I would watch that, and I would enjoy it.
Tar Vizsla did it, right? He was the first Mandalorian Jedi, and he had the Jedi armor and the dark saber. It's why are you trying to fit the Jedi into these boxes? Especially for Luke Skywalker, who he gets to write whatever he wants for the for his new Jedi Academy. But anyway, maybe he's still figuring it out,
But also,
like, it was his first.
Think of the money. You could sell Baby Yoda toys with a lightsaber and armor now.
Yeah.
Instead of just picking one. I don't know.
That would be awesome. Grogu with the Mandalorian helmet with his ears sticking out.
Ooh, yeah. Little slots.
Little slots for the ears, and then yeah.
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 The Jedi Apprentice books. I have not read. Sorry, I'm reading a comment. I have not read the Jedi Apprentice kids books. No.
I thought Jedi Apprentice was that the voice novel.
No, the Jedi Apprentice books. I own all of them. They were the books that were Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi's adventures as Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon were master apprentice. Basically, from when Obi-Wan was first taken by Qui-Gon as an apprentice all the way up until episode 1. I really like them. So, yeah, Raider Band Geek, I really like them. If you can find them, I don't think they're in print anymore. But if you can find them, I would recommend anybody. That got me hooked on reading as a kid. I loved, he just said Qui-Gon training Obi-Wan. Yeah, I loved those books. And those books were confirmed by George Lucas as canon.
But not anymore by Disney. So
not anymore by Disney. Of course, Disney. The mouse destroyed it all. But yes, Qui-Gon training Obi-Wan, and they're thin. They're usually they're a small read for an adult. I've read them as an adult, gone back and read them. They still have a place on my bookshelf today, just because I loved them as a kid so much. As an adult, I go back and read them. I read the book in like a day, in a couple of hours. They are phenomenal. There's no crazy violence in them, but there is lightsaber scenes and action, and they're written by, I believe, Judd Watson, Jude.
Yeah. He wrote a lot of them.
And then he did another one with Obi-Wan taking over Anakin as apprentice, all the way up from him, episode 1 clear up until episode 2, and all the adventures they had in between there. And those were really good as well. I didn't collect all of those, but they were considered canon. Raider Band Geek, they were considered canon. So
nice. I'll have to look into those. I have a couple of the now Legends novels. I have the original Thrawn trilogy, and the Darth Bane, and a couple other ones. I haven't looked into the Apprentice ones.
I need to read the Thrawn trilogy.
The audiobook I was thinking of was one called Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray. It's in the new canon, and it's just an audiobook, but it goes over Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan's relationship. So I wonder if they pulled from that, or if they just completely scrapped it and wrote their own thing, because I've heard good things about the audiobook.
Yeah, okay. I have the Bane book. If either of you guys want to, I have the Bane books. If either of you guys want to borrow them, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I might take you up on that. We should probably end this episode soon. To tie it all back together, though, we've made a lot of predictions on because there's one episode of Boba Fett left. Corwin, I want to hear your thoughts. Because David thinks we're going to get Grogu and Luke Skywalker coming in to save the day at the end.
That's the only way it makes sense in the story. Otherwise, why put it in here?
Where do you think they're going? Because they don't have an army. They were supposed to prepare, and they're not prepared, and they're going to get betrayed by one of the factions, and it doesn't matter which one, because we don't care about any of them, because they haven't been developed. So just pick one.
I agree with David entirely. I think that's what's going to happen. You have to have you have this big conflict.
He's going to ride a Rancor.
Yep. Yeah. He's going to ride a Rancor into town. It's going to look good until Cad Bane steps up, shoots some fools, and then they're going to look at a bad spot, and all of a sudden X-Wing is going to come down.
So that they need an entire army to kill Cad Bane.
Yeah.
Do you think Dave Filoni is going to have the cojones to kill off Cad Bane?
I don't know. That's the thing. Because there was a really cool episode of,
because Cad Bane was Boba Fett's trainer, right?
Jango Fett.
Jango Fett Jango Fett dies in episode 2 when he was a kid.
Boba Fett.
Yeah, but
Cad Bane trained Boba Fett into being in a bounty.
Oh, yes, you're right. A little bit, yes. I think he also had a relationship.
There was a
with Jango Fett
deleted deleted scene from the Clone Wars where they have a standoff duel.
Yeah,
and that's where he gets the dent in his Mandalorian helmet. It's
exactly.
From Cad Bane
they both shoot each other in the head, and since Boba Fett has the helmet, he's got the little dent, and Cad Bane is presumably dead. But
they're not going to do that because they just did the scene with a different character.
But
they just had the Western.
Well, technically, Boba Fett was trained by if I remember right, Aurora Singh.
Aura Singh, yeah.
Aura Singh, yeah. He was trained by her to be a bounty hunter, not necessarily Cad Bane. So
there was a point where Cad Bane had him under his wing.
Yeah. Ultimately, this is what's going to happen. I think David's right. I think the Rancor is going to come in. It's going to look cool. I think Cad Bane's going to come in there, do his thing. Does the director have the cojones to kill off a character like Cad Bane? It would be a good time for him to go out in a blaze of glory, simply because it is that Wild Wild West feel. He has the Wild Wild West kind of a dual thing,
but he hasn't brought him back long enough.
I will be very disappointed if Boba Fett does not kill Cad Bane. The reason why I say that is I'm scared what's going to happen.
Give it to Fennec Shan?
I know. I'm scared they're going to give it to Mando. I'm scared they're going to give Mando's going to kill Bane. I think that whether he does it with his big old rifle or whether he does it with the Darksaber, whether he does it with his pistol, I think they could very easily give it to Mando because Mando's the character that everybody loves. But we're still in, unfortunately, the book of Boba. Boba needs to kill Cad Bane. Whatever happens, that's what needs to happen if they're in any way, shape, or form going to save his character.
So I agree.
Do you think he's going to have a single cool moment in his show?
What was that?
Do you think Boba Fett is going to have a single cool moment in his own show?
I'm hoping the Rancor. Yeah, I'm hoping that
he's going to fall. The Rancor is going to die, though.
Of course,
he's going to be riding it. It's going to get shot by Cad Bane. And he's going to fall off it.
Of course,
maybe, yeah.
And he's going to be like,
a rocket's going to blow it up or something.
My Rancor was so loving. They could be
misunderstood.
Oh, do you think we're going to get more Danny Trejo? Is he going to be in the finale, or did they not have enough money?
Maybe. They haven't shown him since, but I mean, again, they haven't shown Boba Fett since.
Yeah, they're going to have that. And I think David's right. I think Luke's going to come down and save the day because Luke is an army in and of itself. And I do hope. It is sad that that's where they've set this up, if that's what it is. This isn't the book of Boba. It's the book of cameos.
Hasn't been the book of Boba for a single page.
Yeah, nope, it hasn't been the book of Boba. The last time it was the book of Boba was in the trailer when Boba goes into Jabba's palace and takes it over. That was the last time it's been about him.
It's been the book of Fennec Shan and ancillary characters.
Yeah, and Power Rangers and cameos. I think that's what's going to happen, though. I do hope they redeem it. I do hope they do have a showdown, Wild Wild West style, between Bane and Boba Fett, and have Boba Fett win by the skin of his teeth, or however they do that. That would save his character immensely. But I'm too scared that they won't. I'm scared they're going to give Bane to Luke or Bane to Mando, even Bane to Grogu, for pity's sake. Like Grogu suddenly lifts him off the horse like a freaking rhinoceros, and he shoots him.
I think
even Ahsoka Tano. They could give it to Ahsoka. Ahsoka could show up in this.
That's why she was in the last episode, so she can kill Cad Bane. Because they do have kind of a history, don't they?
No, they have a big history in Rebels. Yeah, they are not only Rebels.
Maybe
but
they're
also
giving it to
Wars.
Ahsoka. Oh my! Now that oh no!
Yeah, I hope not.
No.
I'm scared they're going to give it to any one of the characters, but the character that needs it. I don't know. They have screwed this up so much, and that's the sad part about it. Because again, we've been talking for a while, and we've been on so many tangents.
There are plenty of ways they could save the show, but they've just demonstrably showed that they're incapable of making the smart decisions. That I'm pretty much convinced that they're not going to save it in this finale.
It's
really
disheartening to say that.
Will I watch Mandalorian season 1 and season 2 again? Yes, absolutely. Will I watch the Book of Boba again?
Maybe one episode.
No, I won't. I don't need to waste my time. I know what happens. I don't need to waste my time. I can go to YouTube and find the little cool clips here and there of the stuff that's kind of nifty and call it good. I don't need to watch the Book of Boba again.
The only scene I could see myself rewatching is the pod racing scene from Book of Boba Fett. That's the only thing I'd go back for.
Episode 5 was a great Mandalorian season.
Yeah, episode 5, just like Tanner said earlier,
mediocre Mandalorian episode.
It was a great episode of The Mandalorian.
It was an okay episode.
Exactly. I'm right there with you, Corin. I'm afraid that they're not going to pull it together. I think they should give the kill to Boba Fett and kill off Cad Bane. I don't think Cad Bane dies. I'm worried that they might not kill him off anyways.
Likes the character too much. He wants to use him in the Ahsoka show. He's not going to have the cojones.
No. The main villain in the Ahsoka show is going to be Thrawn. But
if Cad Bane had been more present the entire season, I would believe that he's willing to kill him off. Since we only saw him for a couple of seconds in the last in one episode, we only just saw him. I think Filoni's too attached to the character to kill him off.
Yeah, I'm afraid you might be right, but we shall see. So my question though is if they do have a standoff, Boba Fett and Cad Bane, like I'm hoping they do, and Boba Fett actually does get the drop on Cad Bane and he's dead, out for good. Do you think we referenced that the previous unaired episode of the Clone Wars where Boba Fett and Cad Bane had a standoff and they both shot each other in the head, and do you think they're going to reference that as though it happened?
No, I don't think they're going to bring it up at all. That's what last episode was for.
I don't even think the writers.
That's what the last episode was for. They referenced that episode in the showdown between Cad Bane and the Marshal.
Because I think it's still generally understood that did happen. It is canon, even though it wasn't aired. Because Cad Bane does show up later in
what season was that supposed to be?
Batch?
You know,
does he show up in the Bad? It was
shows up in the Bad Batch. Yeah.
It was supposed to be in. It was supposed to be in the last season
that got canceled.
I think they had 2 or maybe 3 seasons planned, and then it got canceled, and then they came back and did
just one and
did one more season. That didn't get making in, but it's still generally understood. I think Dave Filoni went on record saying that did happen, and in the Bad Batch, he has like a metal plate over his head in that area. Okay. So it's I assume that standoff did happen, and they shot each other in the head, and they both lived. Boba Fett got the iconic dent in his helmet.
Well, the smart thing to do
has a big metal plate.
The smart thing to do would be to have that happen in the finale between Cad Bane and Boba Fett, but they already wasted it.
Yeah, they already wasted it, and he already had the dent.
But that would have been the callback to the scene. Everyone would have freaked out, and it was like, "Oh, this happened, and we never got to see it. Now we get to see the rematch." So it's canon, but not really. But it's canon now. But that's what I'm asking by using it in the last episode.
If they do a standoff between Boba Fett and Cad Bane, no, that was between Marshall and Cad Bane.
They can't have 2 standoffs in 2 episodes.
Keep going though, David. What I do want to hear your question.
Do you think they're going to have a rehash of that unaired episode and have
there may be a throwaway line saying, I tried to kill you once.
But here's the other thing that could happen. They could kill Boba Fett.
Oh, yes, that could happen.
They could kill Boba Fett. It is called the Book of Boba. And basically what happened to Boba Fett, what is his story? They could kill
the
Boba
spark
Fett.
that lights the fire, that builds the resistance, that
the Power Rangers then were able to morph into the Megazord. Yeah, I'm getting it. I'm seeing it. It's I'm thinking of Kronk in Emperor's New Groove. Oh yeah, it's all coming.
It's all coming.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! This is how it ends. Baby Yoda, Grogu shows up to help in the fight, and he's using his lightsaber unexperienced for the first time, and he's whacking through bad guys, and he accidentally chops off Boba Fett's head. And then you get a mirror scene of Attack of the Clones, episode 2.
With Jango Fett,
with Boba Fett picking up his father's head, except it's Grogu. Grogu picks up Boba Fett's head and is like, look what I've done. I can't be a Jedi. I will have to choose the Mandalorian way. And he puts the helmet on, dumps the head out, and puts the helmet on.
That's deep.
Hire me, Disney.
But no, I think yeah. Boba Fett could die. It's very well that he could die. I don't think they're going to do, if they do a rehash that scene, one of them is going to die. If they do a rehash, I don't think they're going to tie. One of them is going to die, and I would hope that it would be. I do hope that it would be Bane because
I hope so.
He's old, and it's that whole you're not riding off into the sunset, you're going down fighting concept.
Yeah.
And it's so much better for a warrior to die in battle, cinematically, storyline wise, to an old adversary that he's been fighting his whole life. And then it gets that whole, if I'd have been younger, or if I don't know. I hope that's what happens. I think they could redeem it slightly with that. But I'm just, again, like Alan said, it's ridiculous that we're even considering, even joking about Grogu chopping off his head, because that's where it could go. That's how much we don't. I don't know. I hope they do both the characters justice. I hope they don't do he shoots me in the head, I shoot him in the head, we both die. It'd be so stupid. Just let one of them go down swinging. And end the Book of Boba, so I don't have to watch it and talk about another one of these episodes. Good Lord.
Here.
I think they've said that there could be a season 2, though.
God, please. We're not talking about it. If there is, we'll find something else.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I think we've officially drawn the well dry. Next, I guess this week, the show will not be on Sunday. It will be this Saturday due to scheduling conflicts, i.e., we're finally going to finish The Curse of Strahd. So next Saturday, we're talking about the finale of the Book of Boba Fett. And we do need a new show to watch because this is ending and we only got like 2 more weeks of Vox Machina. So let us know in the comments what shows you'd be interested in hearing us rant and rave about. We probably won't be as passionate about those shows since we're not as invested. But I love doing this. I love talking to you guys. It's been a whole blast. Do you guys have anything else to say?
Nope, we're good.
Nope.
See you on Saturday.
We will see you on Saturday. There are several moments of this episode that I think I'm going to clip out, though, and put into, because we've had some fun tonight. It's been a blast.
Someone brought up Red Dead 2.
Oh, I'm clipping your Red Dead 2 rant, and I think that my possible ending for the Book of Boba Fett is brilliant, and I'm clipping that. So I just dumps out the head and puts it. It's brilliant. Okay. So, peace out. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a good night.
Pleasure, Alan. Pleasure, David. We'll see you.
Bye.